My God, man. Do you know what this means? This skitter's gonna be turned upside down, I tell you, upside down. If you get on his bad side, brother, you're done for. Now, it's only a matter of time before he finds out, and when he does, no matter where he is, get ready, gentlemen, because hell's a-coming, hell's a-coming, hell's a-coming, hell's a-coming, hell's a-coming.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Gundamn and MAHQ, and this is going to be a special, it's special 36. Can you believe we've done 36 specials?
In 10 years? It's crazy.
I know, imagine that. And this, of course, will be the first special after, being released under the boot of Chris. So this is, another Chris-free special. Thank God. Screw that guy.
Oh my lord.
Just kidding. But yeah, we decided to do a special, and we figured we'd do it. Originally, we were going to do this just on the book and the upcoming movie Ready Player One, because there is mecha in it. So we figured
you're the qualifier.
What a great way to shoehorn it in. And then we thought about, this Black Panther thing. I don't know if anybody's heard about this Black Panther movie, but it's pretty big. So we figured we kind of condense them all together. So of course it's me and Soul Bro as normal, but we got a special guest. I guess he would be a subject matter expert on Ready Player One. That would be Show. He's actually the guy I think that read it first.
What's going on, everybody? Showed you here. Great to be here. Glad you guys invited me on.
Welcome, sir.
I'm one of the people that they call so we don't got Chris on here.
Yes, that's so.
Hey man.
You want to come out? It's like, well, hey man, out of 36 specials, I'm glad this is my second one.
Right. You've been on several. You've been on more specials on Gundam than episodes. I'll tell you that. Remember the Sega one that we did?
Oh,
way back when? Yeah, we did that Sega one, and you were on the first part of that. Okay, yeah, you were on 3 because you weren't on the second half of that Sega one. That's for sure.
There was a movie, summer movie one. Right?
Yes. It was actually. I was shit station at the movies, but we put it on the Gundam feed because people liked that episode so much. So
okay, so
it was so good.
So it wasn't even Gundam. So hold on. So Gundam can do that? You can take other shit and put it part of your shit?
Hey, so just
we can.
we do what we want.
Hey, we used to do it. We used to do it. We were a lot more ham-fisted in it in the old days. Now we at least try to do some connection. So it worked out that, of course, there's quite a few mecha that shows up in Ready Player One. So we just figured, okay, screw it, and the upcoming movie. So, but,
we wanted to sound cultured to start actually talking about a book.
Yeah,
a book review.
A book without pictures.
We're sitting there.
Usually when we do a book, it's pictures. Yeah, it's just the manga.
We got our coffee. We're sitting there. Well, thank you for coming out for Gundam Book Club.
Yeah, Gundam Book Club. Today we're going to read Ready Player One. Ready Player One, which has
some of your listeners
reading
like, where's
ability
the pictures? Do I read this from left to right?
Exactly. What are all these things that are like letters in straight lines? Oh, they're sentences. Yes. And
I'm supposed to imagine the mecha design. Okay.
Imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And Show you. We remember when we did Kenshin Course. I remember when we did Kenshin Course.
Oh yeah, man.
Hey, that's
what
right.
was my review score? 4 out of 5 shattered spines.
Yo, that's my fault.
Exactly.
God damn.
Oh, it hurts.
It hurts.
Usually when you get shot, the spine cap.
Oh,
It's actually a good sign that you feel anything.
at least he can talk. He can take away with that. I was about to say at least he can walk away with that, but that ain't happening.
You sick son of a bitch.
Yo, did I pull a Yazi? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stoop. Right. Yo, shout out to Yazi. He's in the chat. Good shit. Good shit.
No, I still remember when you guys kept talking about those Gundam the Origin books, right?
Oh yeah.
I keep seeing all these pictures being shown on Facebook and Twitter. I'm like, man, look at this book, hardcover and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to Solbro's house and I pull it off the shelf. I'm like, man, I can't believe this guy's writing a whole actual book. And I open it. Oh, it's a manga.
It's very impressive. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's a manga. I thought you fuckers were actually reading books.
I thought you motherfuckers had culture.
And then Dennis pops in the fucking back.
Culture.
Reading of the word.
You don't know,
yeah, you're right though. The Gundam the Origin is a little misleading because you see it on somebody's shelf, you're like, wow, that's a great looking book. Oh, it's comic.
I pulled it out the shelf, opened it. Oh, it's a manga. I think I even said that to Soul Bro. Like, oh, it's a manga.
Not
disappointed it's a manga. I just thought it was actually you fuckers were reading books.
I thought you motherfuckers were stepping it up.
Well, maybe not so much the people reading, but the fact that shit, Tamino's actually got together with like some writer, like they're really delving into a book. Holy shit!
Well, that does bring up something we did like
way early in the show. Yeah.
Way early in the show because there is a novelization of Mobile Suit Gundam, and we did do that. That does actually have words in it, so it's not just manga. So
no pictures, not a single one.
Not a single damn picture. Yeah, exactly. So, but
oh my gosh.
So yeah, of course, this is a special, so we're not going to be going into any news or anything, which means that we're just going to go into our first kind of discussion here, and that's going to be Ready Player One. We're going to talk about the book, and then later on we'll talk about some of the things that we're looking forward to with the movie based on some of the trailers and stuff. And before we begin, spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book and you want to read this book and you don't want to know what happens in it, then you need to turn this shit off right now because we are going to say the beginning, the middle, the end, probably quote some things, spoilers of things that you knew or didn't know that were in this book. So we're giving you fair warning. But
and even if you like, fuck it, I'm not going to read the book. Chances are what things that happened in this book we're going to go into discussion, and then later probably
in the movie.
Discuss like what changes we expect to see in the movie, but there's chances a lot of this shit will be in the movie, so
yeah,
some of this will probably be spoiling the film as well, which doesn't come out until March 30th, I believe.
But we're talking about the book, so we're not spoiling the film. So
I'm pretty sure people who don't die, who live or die in the book, I'm sure it'll be all right in the movie, right?
So yeah, so if you want a complete not knowing what's going to go on in the movies and haven't read the book, then you want to shut down everything now too. So,
but you'll probably forget everything we said anyway. So we're all good.
Yeah, that too. Don't get mad. But I'll just do a quick little synopsis. And what is it? It's in the near future. I think it was 2040 something.
2045.
And 2045, and we have a world that's a little bit different than ours. Suffering from like some energy crisis.
We're on the way though.
Yeah, we're getting there. There were social problems, economic stagnation. So to get away from all this, people go into something called the Oasis, which is basically a virtual reality world that's accessible by people just donning these suits and these visors and some gloves, and it's like a open-ended MMORPG, and you know, it just kind of sucks everybody in there. It's becoming, you know, it's a great escape. Well, the man that created this guy called James Halliday, he died, and he was like the richest guy in the world at the time. So basically, think of like a Bill Gates. I mean, he's basically like Bill Gates in our timeline here. He had a will, and he said that he left an Easter egg in the Oasis, which is, you know, the game, and the first person that would find it would get his entire fortune and the company that he created. You know, that basically takes care of the Oasis and things like that. So we fall into a kid named Wade Watts, who's what, about 17, 18 at the time that he's just graduating high school, and he's, of course, just like everybody else. He's called Gunter, and they're basically these people that are going out. They've studied everything about Halliday's life to try to find the Easter egg, and this has been going on, I believe, in the book. What, about Halliday's been dead for about 6 or 7 years at this point, something like that.
About 5 years, yeah.
By about 5 years. So he's been dead for a little bit. Nobody's gotten close, but we just kind of follow the story of that and how Wade starts figuring things out and meets up with some people that he knew online, and how he's chased by this other evil corporation that wants to take over. What is it? ICI?
IOI.
IOI. And they're kind of like this kind of evil corporation that wants to find the Easter egg themselves, and they have teams of people, like, and they're using all their massive resources to get this Easter egg. And you know, we see how they, you know, it's the small guy, the small gamer against the big faceless corporation, and you know, they have some adventures, they have some missteps, and they kind of go through. Wade starts finding, he gets teamed up with these two other people that are known by their avatar names of H and Artemis, and then the two Japanese, you know, the Shoto brothers, I think. Isn't that what they were called?
One is named Shoto, and the other one is
Daito. Yeah, so they're
the five are comprised. They call them the High Five.
The High Five, yep, because they're kind of the first ones that start. You know, because once you start finding these things, everybody knows. Like Wade finds the first key, and everybody knew, and he instantly goes from being a nobody to a somebody. And even though people don't really know who he is, you know, he's being chased by IOI, and then of course other gamers start figuring this stuff out. Oh, and
by the way, we call him Wade, but he's mostly known as Percival.
Parzival, yeah, Percival. Or Z, yeah,
Z, yeah, that's what we'll be saying. So we'll call him Z. Z, the High Five. The villains are the Sixers. There's going to be a lot of terminology thrown out here.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, of course, it's a big corporate conspiracy. Wade and his friends, they band together using the abilities in that they can use in the Oasis, summoning large mecha, large ships, everything you can imagine under the sun, defeating the Sixers, which are this group of people trying to find, that are looking for the Easter egg under IOI, and they're led by this nefarious guy called Sorrento. And there's a big, huge battle at the end. And guess what, guys? Wade wins.
You'll spoil us. But that's what they came for.
Not only does he win, but he not only finds the Easter egg, he gets the entire fortune, gets the corporation. Of course, he's God in the game, so you can't mess with him. And then he gets the girl, because we find out Artemis is like this girl that he loved, you know, that he had a thing for. And we'll get into some of the minutia of some of this stuff, but that's basically it. So before we begin, I had recently read the book. Sho had read the book a couple years ago, and just recently went through a read back. And Solbro
is the only
audio.
He's the only asshole who didn't read the book.
Yeah, Solbro can't read. No.
He listened to the audiobook because he's a simpleton. Yes. Exposed.
So
the first question to me was like, "Is there a manga in this? A comic book?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, man." It's like, "Oh, fuck it, then I'll just read it." They'll just hear it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So that's kind of our basis there, and then we'll get on later about what we're expecting from the movie and some of the things that we've seen in the trailers and stuff. But we're just going to kind of go through some of the things that we like, dislike, talk about the book, you know, the writing style, the plot, some of the other finer points. So, but Sho, I guess we'll kind of go with you first. I mean, you've read it twice. I guess maybe just kind of talk about maybe some of the things you like, dislike, some things that stand out to you in Ready Player One.
First of all, fantastic fucking complete summary of the entirety of the plot of the book.
Pretty much. We're spoiling the shit out of it. Yeah.
I'm like, he didn't even like just give like a brief synopsis of like, you know, this is what to expect. No, he gave us the whole cliff note. So congrats on that.
I did the Chris, man.
The Chris.
That is the Chris. I shit on my inner Chris Guanche because that's what he does. So
Jesus Christ, I always like to like leave people with something.
Oh, believe me, there's so much left. Oh, you're telling me you can't find anything else to talk about in this thing? Even the plot points that we talked about?
I'm just saying, damn. Guess what? He wins.
Yeah.
Well,
so many details.
Well, I think the strength of this book is actually the details he goes into where you're actually following the main character, Z, through this book. So I really think where this book really shines is when what's his Klein, the writer,
Ernie Klein, yeah.
Ernie, we're calling him Ernie.
Well, he's normally called Ernie. When I see him in interviews, they call him Ernie. But Ernest Klein. You'll call him by his government. Fuck it.
I would call him Ernest.
Well, that's what he put on the book. So
that is true. That is true.
I don't know if I respect him as much to be going, hey, what's going on, Ernie?
Yeah, exactly.
He's Ernest Klein. So what Ernest Klein pretty much did here, what I feel was really strong in the book, was when you're really following Z, the main character, when you're just alone with Z, well, Z explains all the situation, going into describing like the things he goes throughout the book. I'm like, you know, this is good. You're doing this journey with Z through that. But as the book goes, like in the beginning parts, I guess he really delves into a lot of world building in the beginning parts of his book. And I'm talking about this like fucking like what, the first 5-6 chapters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The first 6 chapters is pretty much nothing but world building. And you're following Wade, the story behind Wade. Why does YouTube just say YouTube? That's weird. I don't know what Silbro's doing over there.
YouTube is just saying
YouTube channel.
Oh, well, I'll delve into that. Continue going. So no problem.
But as long as they can hear us, right? So, so the first 6 chapters is pretty much world building. So if any of you guys were actually thinking about going into this book, even though we already gave everything away, I still suggest you guys read it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially after you see the chapter 6, when things starts getting like we're really back into the actual hunt of for the egg.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it starts getting interesting again because we're playing in the beginning. There is 3 keys that will lead to 3 gates, and when you finally get through the last gate, you'll get the final egg, which you'll win the whole thing.
Right.
In the book, it's like 400. I think the book describes it as like 450, like 300 billion or 200 billion. Mm-hmm. But then the movie flat out says 500 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay. So we upped the stakes
pretty much
for the movie. Like, man, what's 300 billion? That's bullshit. Come on, man, make that shit like 500 billion. 500, baby, 500 billion. More. How many billions can you give to each person on the planet?
That's not enough money in the world, even with that much. God damn.
But the dystopian world in the future is pretty fucked up, as Neo explained in his beautiful rundown of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you follow Wade through these, when he finds these clues, when he gets through these gates and you're following him through these things, those are really the fun parts of the book. And I like how all these pictures are up here on... These pictures you guys are seeing on the YouTubes, there's probably no context at all to them. You're like, what the fuck is going on with these pictures? But these each and every one of these pictures is referencing something into the book. But I mean, I can go into those, but I'll probably save that for later.
Yeah.
But I guess as I'm reading this book, like I'm telling you what my favorite things are.
Right.
Is really when you're following Wade, when he's by himself. The things I don't care much for in the book is the dialogue between these people.
It is one of its weaker elements, man.
It's not just Wade. Obviously, Wade, his best friend is a character H, spelled AECH, but it's pronounced H. It's like just a letter.
Right.
That's his best friend, and then of course Wade goes on about how he's a shut-in. Like most of these people are shut-ins. They don't know how to really socialize in the real world. They put themselves in the oasis, and that's where they feel like they can be truly themselves. And then, so when you're dealing with the way these characters interact, it is really cringeworthy when you read the dialogue between these things. And I'm like, oh my god, do people really talk like this? But in one sense, I'm like, Wade in the beginning of the book, I want to say, is 17, going on 18.
Yeah, I think he's about to graduate school, right?
He's like about to graduate. He's like near like the last month of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping in mind, Halliday passed away 5 years prior to those things that we're seeing.
Right.
I mean, he's talking about how he first. I mean, the book starts out with him when he first sees the will, but then that whole world building, the first 6 chapters, really is just. He's actually going back and saying how his name was the first one to go on the scoreboard.
Right.
Remember, they actually kind of build up. And by the way, this is the story how boom.
Yeah,
I get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they foreshadow it. I guess at the beginning of the book, they kind of preview that event, and then they build up the story leading to how he did it, because that scoreboard had been blank the entire time
for 5 years.
5 long years,
was blank, and that people pretty much thought that this shit was a joke. It wasn't real, and people were like, it was just an urban legend. But then when the name Percival shows up #1 in the scoreboard after 5 long years since that will and testament, that's when shit goes crazy, because they finally got proof that holy shit, this is for real. Mm-hmm. That if someone gets that egg at the end, they're going to become one of the most powerful person on the fucking planet.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then Percival is the first one to show up on that list. So again, just the way he interacts with these people. H, his best friend, ends up becoming like another person from the High Five. How he meets, oh my god, how he fucking stalks and crushes on a girl is so creepy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
that is real creepy.
Oops.
Another main character.
Even he thinks he's creepy at the end. He's like, maybe I was just a little too creepy. It's like, think.
At least he takes himself accountable in that whole affair. But yeah, it is a bit off-putting at first.
I just get fucking flashbacks of fucking our early days online and how people would act.
Oh my god! You knew a couple fucking nutcases.
So this female character, the first one that we're assuming is actually female is Artemis.
Yeah.
Which you can clearly see in the trailers and pictures that is actually a female. And Artemis is the first. I mean, he talks about her from message boards he went to, so he was already crushing on this character before.
Yeah, she's kind of a well-known player in the world.
She's a well-known gunter. Again, to remind, gunters is the term used in the book for people who are egg hunters. Gunters.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Mr. Klein goes into all these crazy fucking terminologies and shits, and fuck, we haven't gotten to how he fucking cum blasts you with nothing but references.
Yeah, it is a bukkake of it is a bukkake of what is it, the flashback what's it called, the you guys always say it to me all the time. I wear glasses. What are they called? The
nostalgia glasses.
Nostalgia bukkake.
Dude, man. He's got nostalgia. He's got like nostalgia telescope.
He's got the nostalgia Hubble telescope, man.
Pretty much.
Dude, I caught pretty much all the references, but some of them, like the one showing up on YouTube right now, they Hawk the Slayer. I'm like, hold on, I gotta look this up.
Yeah, some of the shit I had no idea about.
There's some I didn't know. like some of those TV show. I didn't know what square pegs was.
Oh, for real?
Or any.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Well, I'm a TV nerd, so yeah, that's the only reason I know.
I had to look up shit. I heard about square pegs, but I had to look up ISIS, Electric Girl and Dyna Girl, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of these pictures.
Yeah, I didn't know what Electric Girl Dyna Girl was.
I didn't know about ISIS at all. That was totally new to me.
I'll explain square pegs. I'll explain what these things are, because we're literally now at the part where we're meeting Artemis for the first time.
Yeah.
But Wade was crushing on this girl from one of her message boards and shit. And then after he goes into should I really just go into the depth of how he finds like the first gate and key?
Well, I mean, we can just jump around and talk about it, but yeah, that whole experience in the cave, where where I guess it's based on a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
I mean, if you can pull up the pictures of the that allude to the first key.
I have. Yeah, I can pull it up, no problem. But
I'm quizzing Soul Bro.
Oh my god, fuck!
Which one of these pictures? These pictures allude to the first key. So anyway, this is the interesting thing about the Oasis. So they put the entire school system online now.
Yeah,
that's it.
So even people that can't afford to get this technology, if you actually are, I guess, fill in the requirements of being able to enter this Oasis public school system, they actually will hook you up with this console and this the bare bones visor and haptic gloves, which Wade got. So Wade, even though talking about how fucking broke he is in the beginning, the reason why he's even able to get into the Oasis, like, how the fuck is this guy able to go in here if the world is such a shit place? Well, because he's actually in there for school. And the school system actually gave him this shit, so he's actually going onto this world, going to school. And so while he's in school, he's trying to figure out this first fucking clue. Unfortunately, I don't have the clue in front of me, but it pretty much it boils down to happening to be right there on that school planet.
Yep, for the most part.
So I guess Halliday figured out that everyone's going to be able to be on this planet. So he feels that Halliday made it in a way where anyone can find the first gate. Because it's on a public school, anybody can get to it, and then even though it took him 5 fucking years, Wade was able.
It was hiding in plain sight almost.
Yeah.
Oh, remember how he found out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he just happened to be sitting in Latin class.
Oh yeah, true.
Yep.
And then
there's gonna be so many convenient shit that happens in this book.
There's shit.
Happened to be sitting in Latin class because Latin was the language course that Halliday took, so he's sitting there. So he's sitting there just one particular day of Latin class, and the teacher said something while he had the thing up in front of him, and then it clicked. It clicked at that moment. Holy crap. This thing's probably on this planet.
Yeah, it's a bit of a revelation because, as you pointed out, he's so broke he can't travel to the other planets out there. Basically, he's basically stuck at the school, even though he's in the Oasis, a place that allows him to get away from the doldrums of his everyday life. But other than going to school and the few things that he can afford, he never thought he'd be able to get off planet enough to be a real gunter and find the first first arena or the first dungeon where he could find the first key. And even then, he wasn't even sure what was in there. He got to the opening of the cave and then went inside. And I guess that's when he meets who.
And that's why there's a picture up right now, the Tome of Horrors, an old D&D module that he pretty much hid the first key in.
Right.
So he goes through it. And Halliday programmed the shit. He programmed the shit to be exactly like the module. So all Wade had to do is pull this map up and follow it to the T. So he was able to skip a lot of the traps and whatnots. And so he gets to the end, and he comes across the Lich King. And the Lich, he's afraid, dude. He's like what, level 5?
Something like that. Yeah, level 4 or 5.
He's like really low level. So he's saying to himself, "Yo, if I have to fight the Lich, I am fucked." Because remember, think of this game as like some kind of weird Second Life type shit, where it's still an RPG. You can still level up. You can still get items and then armor and weapons and shit. So he gets to this Lich King, and he's like, "Oh man, if I gotta fight this dude, I'm dead." The Lich King gets up. He's talking to him and shit, and then the Lich King just turns around and like fucking a joust arcade machine fucking appears.
Much to his luck, because as you mentioned,
he played it 1,000 hours.
Yeah, as show puts out, there's a lot of coincidences that allow him to advance in this game a lot faster than the average person, and it just turns out that Parzival is a huge fan of Joust. Him and his best friend play each other in that game all the time, and sure enough, he has to play against this demon. Undead Lich King in a game of Joust, and it's a close game, but he manages to pull it off.
He's got to win 2 out of 3.
Yep.
Games of Joust, and so yeah, like Silbro is saying, it's like, man, it's a good thing I've put hours playing against H in our lobby. I'm like, really,
Yeah.
really. I was bored with a controller in my hand. And it's like, if I had to fucking win 2 out of 3 against a fucking AI of Joust, I would be fucking destroyed.
You know, it makes me actually want to bring something up about Wade as a character. I do like Wade as a character overall, and I think that the book does a really good job of bringing you along on his whole journey and what he's thinking and doing at the time. But at the same time, I think of his character, he's someone who had to take on the likes and the hobbies of someone, you know, that's been dead, and he pretty much had to, in order to be any good at this game, this hunt, you have to kind of take on the fandom of someone who, you know, who his heyday was in the 80s, which was decades and decades prior. So you had to immerse yourself in a time period that you weren't born in, basically. And granted, the world's shit, so you want an escape anyway, so it kind of worked out for him. But does he have his own identity, or is he assuming the identity of Halliday and his likes and his ideas and shit like that? Is he like an avatar in a sense for Halliday, you know, being that he ultimately is the one that beats the game?
He's the chosen one, man.
He's the chosen one.
Well, the real answer is he assumed the personality of Ernest Klein.
Yeah, true.
It's the same personality
Yeah,
everyone in the book.
Yeah,
everyone is Ernest Klein.
Because yes, and if there is a problem with the book, is that sometimes everybody is Ernest Klein, and the book ends up being how much obscure 80s pop references that Ernest Klein knows. And man, some of the flow is, you know, I agree with Joe on the dialogue. The dialogue's pretty cringe-worthy. Yeah. But man, some of the explanation of the references is just as bad, because it's like, I was telling these guys, the thing that just sticks in my mind, there's one point where Tom Sawyer by Rush comes up, and they just, Tom Sawyer is it's a song by this band Rush, and he just starts naming off all the player, you know, all the band members of Rush and what they're doing. I'm like, God damn, dude, you know, easy. I get it. You know all 3 members. You know what they can do. You know the instruments they play. I get it. And it's just not that one. It's everything. It's just it could have been done in a better way. It's the only way I can really say it's just ham-fisted. I hate saying that.
It's not as organic as you would like it to be.
Really is just like, yeah. It's not even, you know, and we get that from, you know, animes and stuff. You always get the explanation lady or the explanation person, but it's a little, you can do it a little bit. And I was telling these guys too, it's also a lot with Wade is like, Wade in a lot of ways is a 70s super robot anime, because it, like you just said, oh, it's a joust machine. Oh, it's a good thing that I played hundreds and thousands of hours with H in joust, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, everything's so kind of convenient. But
I mean, like I was saying to Nia before the show, it's like, I'm not any person who'll go and fucking do any reviews for a book. Right. To me, if I read a book, if I enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to tear it down and whatnot. But I can, after reading a book like this, I can tell you right now the difference from a really good writer and a so-so writer. A really good writer can have multiple characters, and when you're reading the book, you're reading the characters.
Yeah.
When you're reading this book, you're reading Ernest Klein.
You're reading the author. Yeah.
With every person that talks. I'm like, dude, really? Every one of them is talking the same? Because like I was saying to Neo, the very beginning of the book, when Halliday is giving his will and testament, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, here's an old guy. He died in his 60s.
Something like that, yeah.
He got sick. He never says what it is, but chances are he probably passed away from cancer. He knew because he knew he was dying. He knew he was sick, so that's why he put all this shit together. And so when he's talking, you expect some kind of decorum from this guy, but then he starts going like, "You get to win all this. What do you say? All this moolah,
all this dough,
all this dough." Like, really? That's what you would say? Okay, well, all right. All right, you're shut in. I guess you still think you're fucking 12.
Yeah.
But all right. Because I guess he was a person that was stuck in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
But then you get that same dialogue when you get to characters like Percival and Artemis. Because, as I was saying, when Percival was just about to, when he plays the joust machine, big fucking shock, he beats the Lich King.
Right.
And he gets the first key. Boom! Right? And so he's walking out the cave, and that's when he runs into Artemis.
Yeah.
And the dialogue between these two, sweet baby Jesus.
Because the issue with it is when you read books and you get in that point where people are going back and forth on dialogue, and they'll start, usually the author will be like, oh, Percival says this, and then Artemis said this, and then you kind of know they're going back and forth. The dialogue is, and usually you're able to distinguish it because they're varying in their speech and their dialogue and stuff. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's hard because there were many times in these long things I'd have to go back and go, okay, who started this?
Perfect
because
picture, by the way.
I don't know who, because, and then what made it even worse is when they have the other members of the High Five, and there's a couple, and I'm like, wait a second, because there's nothing that's really distinguishing them. The only thing that distinguishes are the two Japanese guys because they say, Artemis-san and stuff like that. Oh. That's the only thing that distinguishes them.
Ernest Clyde pretty much just took whatever he knew about Japanese people and put it into those two characters. And they barely talked. I'm like, okay, you know what? This works. But the reason I said that was a perfect picture is because when Artemis introduces herself to Percival, she goes on by saying the entire fucking name of what Sean Connery says in Highlander.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, and this is the best part with the dialogue. So when Ernest Cline is patting himself on the back with all these crazy references,
damn.
So are the characters. When one drops one, the other one, oh, I get that one. That's a good one. And then they could bust out with another. Oh, that's a really good one too. Fist bump. I wish I was joking. He literally writes fist bump.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the book, but holy shit, the dialogue between these characters is so crucial.
I mean, it's not winning any Pulitzers.
I don't want to steer people on the thing of like, no, it's a fun book to read.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. And there's a lot of things of the outside world that I wish we'd explore a little bit more because it seemed very interesting. But the fact of the matter is, if you're reading this, be prepared. It's going to be a little weird. I guess it's a little cringeworthy.
I mean, for me, I listen to the audiobook, so hearing Will Wheaton say these things, I'm used to it. Could listen to his podcast, I'm used to him, saying cornball shit, and years of watching Wesley Crusher. I wasn't surprised at the dialogue in the book, but to me, I did have a few moments where I did cringe, but overall, I just found it was kitschy to say the least.
But the problem is,
first of all, whatever, listener. Okay.
Oh, listen, asshole.
Well, the thing is listening to it.
The readers are talking.
If you're listening to it, it's a little bit. I'm sure it's easier to, as goofy as it is, even if it wasn't Will Wheaton, if it was just somebody else, it'd be a little bit easier to deal with. But when you're reading it, it's just like you can't, because when you read, your mind's eye is you start to kind of visualize, and like Sho said, a good writer kind of puts something where you can get a little bit, you start developing what the person's personality is, but they're all Ernest Cline, like he said. I mean, they're just all this guy, and it's not bad, but yeah, I mean, just be prepared.
It's not really far into the book. I'm talking like literally page 10, where he bukkake blasts all over you, nothing but references.
Oh my
where
god!
if you were actually removed all those references, there's probably 10 unique words from his own mind.
Oh
Yeah.
damn!
No, there is a page really early on. The one where he's when Wade's like in the laundry room and he starts naming off TV shows, movies,
yeah.
songs. I'm like, holy shit, dude!
Shit, yeah.
I mean,
Like, take it easy.
it's a pop culture orgy, man. I get it. He's
Spread it out though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Spread. We don't care.
It is a crunch.
I mean, you got to look at it this way: is we're not questioning. We get what the book is.
Mm-hmm.
We get that it's a pop culture, but spread it the fuck out. You know, it's like you don't have to just blast it at the beginning, because it got to a point, because in some ways it makes it hard to want to continue. Show you probably and Show warned me when I told him I was starting to read it. He's like, yeah, those first couple are going to be tough, and they are tough. And you know, it's not tough because this was translated from another language or something like this. It's just tough because this guy so badly wants to show off what he knows. Because damn it, dude.
The way I see this, dude, look, I'm already interested. Tell me the story. I want to read the story, but you're just telling me pop culture, references. Okay, I know that's what this is about, but get to the fucking story.
Yeah.
And the story is definitely the strength about this. And when he finally gets his groove, once you get that through that first gate, and then you're getting, and then the second portion, when they're going through the second gate, unfortunately, Percival cannot find his fucking second key to save his Oh,
I know, right?
He cannot find this jade key at all, but he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah,
because now he met Artemis, and now they're practically dating at this point, and of course, this is the portion of the book where they're hanging out. That's why you're going to see pictures rotating through here if you want to hear some of the context. That's why Rocky Horror Picture Show's in there. Because they go to a planet and they actually perform that shit.
That's true.
And it's parts of the trailer that you saw where they're dancing. They're dancing and shit. That's around the time where, oh man, fuck the egg. I got a girl finally. Yeah, it's like even though she's online, she's probably could be a fucking 200-pound dude.
No, and he does say that a lot. He's like, I do give him that. It's like, I don't know if she's actually a girl or if she is just a dude.
But I'm in love with you. And then when he said that, I'm like, you done fucked up.
Yeah.
You done fucked up. And so in that second portion, he tells us they grow together, and then he says that to her, and then she breaks the whole thing off because she is hardcore. She was hardcore wanting to look for this egg, and she kept saying this shit to Wade. Look, I want to find this egg, and I can't get distracted.
I got time.
She was worried about this distraction. She got distracted, and when he said those words, and he even said, "What about the egg?" I'm like, "Who cares?" I'm like, "Oh, you dummy, you fucked up." At that moment, it was over, dumped. He becomes fucking depressed, and then it's like what I think the time of passage was 3 months.
Yeah,
he's still sitting there. He's there sitting there like fucking depressed. 3 or 5 months. And then Percival's name is number 1. And then after those 3 months, he knows the scoreboard. It dings. Artemis's name becomes number 1.
Oops.
Because he was wallowing so fucking much.
Yeah.
watching her TV show. By the way, that's why we got those pictures of Isis, Electric Girl, Dyna Girl.
Square Pegs
in there.
She watched Wonder Woman, and there was a third show, Square Pegs.
Square Pegs, yeah.
So that's why those shows are on there, because each of these High Five, they're famous now, and so they have like their own streaming channel, and that's what she watches. H is watching fucking like old 80s Hulk Hogan and fucking Macho Man.
Yo, son. Come on, brother.
Well,
H is the man of dating.
And I just opened the book because I was looking to see the page that you were talking about where it's just the freaking cum fest. on one page, page 41. These are the following things that are referenced in this page: Ladyhawk, VHS and Laserdisc, Howard the Duck, Kroll, Ladyhawk again, Alan Parsons Project, Highlander 2, Intellivision Controller.
You know what's sad is he's only
Ferris Bueller, Ron Batty.
He's really only
Professor
skipping
Fokker.
like 1 or 2 words between these things.
War
Jesus.
Games, John Wood, Matthew Broderick, Ladyhawk again, Richard Donner, The Goonies, Superman the movie. Spielberg directed it. Legend, Ladyhawk again.
Damn,
He's a
Ewok
big fan
Fetish.
of Ladyhawk.
No doubt.
Revenge of the Jedi. That's one page.
1 page.
All those things are referenced in one freaking page.
Keep in mind,
I think
Show can't stand the movie Ladyhawk at all.
I can't fucking stand Ladyhawk.
I don't even remember that movie.
Dude, there's an argument between H and Z
Yeah.
about Ladyhawk.
About Ladyhawk, yeah.
I'm fucking dying. Because H is giving him shit
Oh,
about
man.
Ladyhawk, and I'm like, fucking Ladyhawk sucks.
What is the synopsis of Ladyhawk? What was? I know it's Matthew Broderick, but
Matthew Broderick is this
he's a
what the
falconer, right?
He's like a squire or some thing, because he has to look after. There's the main guy is played by Rutger Hauer,
Right.
and during the day he's human, and he goes around with a hawk.
Right.
But the hawk is actually Michelle Pfeiffer during the day.
Oh,
When
yeah.
the night comes, she becomes human, and then he becomes, I think, a wolf.
Okay.
So they were cursed. They were lovers. They were cursed that they could that one becomes this animal at one part of the day, while the other one, vice versa. And then they only get to see each other in their human form for like a few seconds when the transitions. Oh, fuck Ladyhawk.
Yo, for those who play Twilight Princess, you might be familiar with the story, at least in some way, shape, or form.
Fucking Ladyhawk, man. When they were arguing about this shit, I'm like, this is fucking great. Fucking H, give him shit. Give him shit, H. But where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, she dumps him.
Yeah, she dumps him
Yeah.
and gets the second key, and
It's the jade fucking key.
and my man is feeling even worse because he's now behind in the game. She's left him behind. He's not even a thought in her mind right now because she's steadily working towards getting all 3 keys so that way
That's
she
how it
can.
works in a fucking breakup. It's
Yeah,
like
man.
you're so into the relationship, but they're easy to can move on. Like,
Oh,
fuck,
women will pick up
man,
them pieces and fucking move, boy.
What the hell was our relationship then?
I think that came from a real personal place.
That really happened. That really happened to Ernest. Once again, like we said, everything in this movie in this book is Ernest Cline.
It's a fucking bio.
Yeah, because that hurt and that feel that the loss of the feeling of hopelessness that Wade has, it does seem like it's coming down from a very familiar place.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to write that sequel as well as he's going to be able to write this book.
Which, by the way, guys, that once Percival got number 1 on the scoreboard, he became an instant celebrity.
Yeah.
So he was broke in real life, broke and in the game. But once he became number 1, he was getting fucking deals, like sponsorship deals, like commercial deals and all that shit. And when that happened, he was able to move out from the shithole he was in into like his own apartment and be able to fucking teleport, travel anywhere in that fucking oasis, and so forth. He actually, but he also picked up a job, if I remember correctly, because he got like some information where he became an IT within Oasis, so that was like also paying his bills. But I guess we kind of glanced over the fact that because we were already going on to the second gate, but the first gate, once he got number 1, that's when entered the villain.
Yeah.
Sorrento. Because when he saw this guy Percival found the first egg, he sends an email to him. It's like, hey, can we meet? I got an offer you don't want to refuse and whatnot. And then Wade, he feels himself throughout this book.
He sure does.
He feels himself all through this book, but he's also got this plot armor because he's really fucking Ernest Cline. It's like he can't do no wrong. Because don't worry, I'm not gonna write myself into losing. That's what Ernest Cline is doing. He has like no fucking faults. Holy shit. But anyway, he meets with this guy. Even though we're reading the book, I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah, why would you do this?
Oh, don't meet this guy. And oh my god, the dialogue between Sorrento and Wade. Man, Silver, if you didn't cringe in the dialogue before, don't tell me you didn't fucking cringe to practical death with the dialogue between Sorrento and Wade.
I may have. I mean, it's been a while, but for me, I was so caught up in the momentum of the story, because that to me is the I think a slight difference in listening to an audiobook is it feels like you're listening to a radio show. So even though the dialogue isn't all that great, it works to at least to some degree because you're caught in the back and forth between the two. But yeah, I mean, it was some Simple Simon shit, but I mean at the same time,
we need to stop bringing him up because he's the listener.
He's the jerk.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
It's tough. It's tough.
Because he says shit like, "What's like, yeah, compadre, man." He
sounds like an old dude who's out of touch with the youth. That's what he sounds like to me.
And that's when it really hit me. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad because Sorrento is not like any of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, but holy shit, he's like talking like this. I'm like, oh my lord. So anyway, we've already talked about the fucking dialogue. I'll try not to bring that shit up, but it's just hard not to because we keep bringing up other fucking conversations between these people.
Terrible.
I'm trying not to, guys. So he meets up with Sorrento and he talks to this guy, and Sorrento's offering him a job. He's like, look, work for us, we'll give you this salary, but you have to come here, live here, and all this thing. But of course, if you win the egg, you have to give that, the winnings and whatnot to IOI. And then, of course, he's sitting there full of himself, like pretending to listen to be interested, but he's not. Because he says it in his mind. Like, I'm just going to listen, but I'm not interested in all this shit. Mm-hmm. So he starts fucking with him. And he starts fucking, you know what? I'll do it under 3 conditions.
Oh, no.
And I can't remember all 3 conditions, but one of them definitely was, I want your job.
Yeah, that's true.
I want your job, your title. And then another condition.
Yeah, I'm right at that point. The 3 conditions: he wanted $55 million. He wanted a $50 million bonus
instead of 20.
Yeah, not 25. And then he wanted Sorrento's job, and
then he's like, and then you know what?
And then he goes,
"You're gone. I find you creepy.
Yeah, I'll fire your ass." And give me your position.
I want them to fire your ass because I know your bosses are listening. They need to fire your ass because you're creepy. I don't want you on there. Insulting the fuck out this guy, right?
Yeah, that was a bridge too far.
and then and then he's listening and he's like, "Okay, done."
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do this and we'll sign it. And then he's like, "You know what? Yeah, I changed my mind. No, I'm not gonna work with you guys." And then Sorrento's like looking at it, like, this is what I was expecting. So now I'm going to give you the real option.
The nuclear option?
I'll give you $5 million. We'll give you $5 million right now. Tell us how to find the first key and gate. Don't have to tell us anything. You can go back to your hunting and whatnot. We won't even tell anyone you told us. Give us that $5 million. Or we blow up your house, Mr. Wade Watts.
Yeah. Actually, he does his full name here. Wade Owen Watts.
Yep.
Wade Owen Watts. Because this whole time he was only calling Percival. Was holding onto his card that he actually knew who the fuck this guy was and where he lived. And then Wade starts shitting himself. And then he's like, "No, you're bluffing. Fuck you, you're bluffing." And then he eventually leaves. No, he was not bluffing. He heard an explosion. The stack where he lives, like where his aunt lives and people he actually cared for lived, it fucking came down. See that part in the trailer? That shit's in the book.
That shit is in the book.
That is in the book, yeah.
That is in the book. He blew that shit up. And when I got to that part of the book, I'm like, yo, here we go. We got some stakes.
Yo, we got
because the whole book is all in the fucking virtual world. It's anonymity, they didn't know who was going up. But now we have a villain. Shit's happening in the world. I'm like, yo.
and then that was the point that I was like, my perked up, and I was like, wow, yeah, you're right, because it was real at this point. Because everything up to this point, it's an oasis. Who cares? Mm-hmm. No big deal. No skin. And then what was it? That old lady that lived right by him got killed, and
she was in the stacks when they blew up.
Yeah.
The one person he actually cared about in that place.
So that's the villain's introduction, and it was a pretty good introduction, even though because Wade was shitting on him all the time, and then he just fucking. So I'm looking forward to that in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we kind of glanced over that when we got to the second key and gate. But once we got that whole shit, what he was dating Artemis and shit, I'm like, and no, he was all depressed. I'm like, whatever. It picked up again when he got a tip from H. He's like, look, now we're even. Because in a way, Wade kind of helped H find the first key and gate, and that's why he became number 3 in the high five. And so he gets a tip from H. He knows where to go, or was that he? IOI is cheating.
IOI is cheating, yeah.
Well, not really cheating. They have an artifact. There's artifacts in this game, and they have one where they type in a name and they can see what sector they're in. And they have this item, and so I think when Artemis found the second key, they typed it in. They knew what area to go to, but not the exact planet.
Right. Yeah. And then they have so many people that they just overwhelm it with, resources, and people just do different things.
So Wade follows where they're gathering. He gets to this area, and it's like this part where there's like a museum with a bunch of arcade machines and whatnot. So he goes deep in there. It's like, well, I don't think it's here, but then he comes across like this old recreation of a bowling alley that he remembers from Halliday's almanac. Was a bowling alley where he grew up in his neighborhood that had this game of Pac-Man. And he walks up to this machine of Pac-Man, and there's like a quarter on it, and he's trying to grab it, and he can't. And then he looks down and he sees Halliday's scoring there. And like, well, fuck it. To beat that score, you have to play a perfect game. I got reminded because he put up the picture of the Pac-Man when half the screen is garbled.
Oh yeah.
And so he sits there playing this. He's playing the game. He plays the perfect game, of course. He's fucking Wade Watts. I mean, he's one of like 6 people on the goddamn planet that can play the perfect game.
Of course.
And so then this quarter flips down and falls in his hand. It's an artifact, but we don't know what the fuck it does. So we find out later. I probably won't even say it. Maybe I'll try to save some shit for you guys for the movie.
No doubt.
And so once he finished the thing, his alarm goes off because I think at that moment, was it H? H's name came up, or was actually Sorrento's name that came up, number 2?
Yeah, I think Sorrento.
I think it was Sorrento.
Yeah.
So he's there. Artemis, so he drops. Artemis is still number 1, and then Sorrento goes up, and then he's like, fuck. I'm so busy playing Pac-Man, these fuckers got up there, so now he's even more fucked.
Shit just got real.
Pretty much.
But then that's when H sent him like a little, if you can find the picture, the cover for Zork.
Zork? Yeah, I got you.
He sends him an email, now we're even. And he sends him the picture of the cover of Zork.
Yes.
And then he's like, what the fuck? And then he looks in the background. He says part of the riddle was like in a place that was like left alone. And then he puts 2 to 2 together. That house in the background is this dilapidated house. And then he's like, holy shit, on this sector, there's this planet where someone recreated the house from Zork. That's where it's got to be.
Yep.
So he goes there. If you go and find the pictures for fucking Captain Crunch whistle and all that shit, that leads him to the key. Right? And then the jade key is covered in a tinfoil.
It's in a tinfoil, yeah. And
take the test or some shit.
Yeah.
And you'll find the gate. But he had to get the fuck out of there because
the Sixers came.
Yeah.
The Sixers were coming.
They came running.
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't Sorrento's name that came up next. It probably was H's name.
No, I think it was Sorrento. I think it was his number or something like that.
Was this the planet where there were multiple versions of the house on it? Or was that... Okay,
yeah,
cool. So you could go to
so I don't think it was Sorrento then.
Yeah.
Because remember, once they found it, that's...
was it the Japanese guys?
The Japanese guys had a showdown with the Sixers, and that resulted in a fucked up moment. In the virtual world and the real world.
So this Captain Crunch and all this Zork shit leads him to find the second key, which is covered in tinfoil. And then remember, Percival took the longest to fucking find this shit.
Shit, tell you about it.
So he's like the third person that found it, because it was like Artemis and then H, and then he found it, and then the one of the Japanese found it. And so moving on. But of course, once he unwraps the tinfoil, he just so happened to luckily found the fucking clue for the second gate. Because he was so busy like scrutinizing, looking at these pictures of this of shit. Then he remembers a movie, which was Blade Runner, about how so and so was looking through this picture, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, tinfoil, so and so," and he just says the word unicorn. And if you can find that picture, the tinfoil magically folds up into a unicorn.
I'm already there.
And he realizes what test he has to take, which is the
Void Comp.
The Void Comp test from Blade Runner.
Yep.
So that's why we got pictures of like the building and shit, the Tyrell building and whatnot. So he goes there, and that's where the second gate is. And the second gate, this is the part where I know fucking Gundamn can't wait to hear.
Oh boy.
So the second gate, he goes in there and he has to play the fucking arcade machine of Black Tiger.
Oh,
which
yes.
in Japan is Black Dragon.
Black Dragon, yeah.
So he's playing this Black Tiger game. He has to beat it, but he's not playing the actual arcade machine, like standing in front of it. He's put into the game, which... I'm sorry, Mr. Klein. Have you seen this game? Can you imagine playing it while in the game?
It's like playing Strider in the game. Dude, that's nuts.
You bring up the picture of
Yeah, you were addressing him.
Because he thought he was going to play like the arcade machine, like he played Joust, right? But he gets sucked into the machine. He's grabbing on, and of course he's shooting out references. He's grabbing onto the Time Pilot machine next to him, or the fucking like heavy barrel machine. Like, no. And he gets sucked in, right? Look up this game. Look up how crazy this game is. No. Better thing is, you guys all seen Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if you're put in Ghosts and Goblins and you're inside Ghosts and Goblins and you have to play that shit like that. Fuck off.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So no, sorry, Mr. Klein. I am not buying it. I'm not buying
Mr. Klein.
that Z was able to pull that shit off. I don't care how easy the game is. Outside of it, you can't do that shit as a person inside the game. Anyway, Z pulls it off. He pulls it off, and then at the very end, there's a selection screen of a bunch of mechs.
Yeah.
A lot of them are grayed out. Also, Sorrento must have already done it, because I remember he said a bunch of them are already grayed out.
Yeah. A bunch of people in his team must have already beat the game, and because they grabbed a couple choice suits and mecha in there, but they left some good ones
racing
behind.
with him. He was probably racing against him. So he saw some of them already grayed out. So, oh, that's right, because even though H told him where the key was. Remember, Artemis was one of the first. Z was one of the first ones to find the gate, because he figured out the whole tinfoil thing. And then I guess Sorrento was like right there behind him, and so he picks his mech. And then as he's scrolling through him, he starts naming off mechs. This is the big freaking fanboyism.
Oh yes.
He named off like fucking, was it the Shodo Warriors?
Oh, Shogun Warriors and
Shogun Warriors.
And for those that don't know, Brave Raideen was one of the Shogun Warriors that was brought over to the States as a big ass robot toy that people could buy. People who had never even seen the anime were able to get Brave Raideen here in the States at the time, because it was one.
Might as well. At this point, you could probably show up a lot of those mecha pictures, because I know a lot of those was in that list.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Some of them were grayed out. We don't find out who they are till later on, but that's where Iron Giant is mentioned.
Yes,
and that is the only time
Iron Giant is mentioned.
Or
seen. He's not even seen. He's just mentioned.
Well, in our minds, apparently he's seen because he's in the menu screen to be selected. But that is it. Iron Giant never shows back up. But obviously he's gonna play a huge part in the fucking in the movies. So when I see that in the movie trailer, it's like, oh no. Which one of these awesome mechs that are mentioned in this list are seen in this book we're not going to see because they had to put Iron Giant in there because of the licensing. Fuck.
My bet is on Ultraman.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ultraman, remember, Ultraman is not even in that selection.
No, I know, but I'm saying later on when Ultraman's used.
Yeah.
Ultraman is, to let people know, Ultraman is an artifact that is found when Wade, during his funk of being in Dumpsville,
Yeah,
when he was playing with the Japanese players, which didn't really trust him too much. Well, the older one did, but the younger one was cool with him.
Yeah.
But because he found a planet where they were going through the entire series of Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they were going through like all 60 some odd episodes or whatnot, or 36 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all in Japanese, so that's why he asked them to help him. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And then they're like picking the characters, and so they're going through all these episodes, and then at the very end, they get a capsule.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to give it to Wade, and Wade's like, nah. To curry favor with these guys, he's like, he goes to Dido, you can keep it. And then Dido's like, thank you very much and whatnot.
Right.
And then something happens where, But anyway, so we go through this whole selection of these mechs, but then Wade is like skimming through all of them, right? And then he stops at one. He stopped at it immediately. He even said, I don't care even if this is like the biggest robot in here. I have to have this one. And he picks what's his face? Leopard.
Yeah.
Leopard.
He picks Leopard. It's like and then of course he goes to the whole reference of Spider-Man and shit like that, right? And so he picks Leopard, not giving a fuck about anybody else, even though he saw other robots and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes on. And that's great, that picture. And then but yeah, he picks Leopard, and then from then the rest of the guys get their shit, and then I'm trying to remember, after the second gate, they get a clue. I'm trying to remember. He fucking knew immediately where to go.
Yeah, he did.
Percival just went on the roll. I mean, it took him forever to find the Jade Key.
Yeah, but
but things just kept back to back to back. He was because as soon as he heard the clue,
he figured it out.
It showed a circle in red triangles.
Yeah, because and that's off the cover of one of the Rush albums, 2011, right?
2112.
Yeah, and he knew that also Homeboy was a big fan of Rush, as Neil pointed out earlier. Well, also Neil's a huge fan of Rush too.
And I'm sure at this point Neil's like, what?
No, I was feeling good about that, but I mean,
hell yeah, dude, you probably put it on.
Yeah, and they gotta sit there and he's got to play it. He's got to play the Rush parts.
Discovery, yeah.
And that's why there's pictures of the guy playing the guitar. Sorry, I'm not the big Rush guy. This is this part where Neo should be explaining, but
yeah, Alec Leifson, the guitarist of Rush.
So apparently there is a planet that Halliday created that was built around that. So he goes to this planet. He follows the lyrics, like he goes to like this. He finds like some altar, and there's nothing he can do about it because I guess he needed to place something. He tried to put in the key in there, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Then he realizes that he needed he had to do something else. So he follows the lyrics where he's going like behind a waterfall, and he finds like this cavern where this guitar is just fucking floating there, and he goes into it's the Gibson Les Paul that this guy plays and shit, and then he goes there, and just when he was about to leave with it, like hold on, I gotta do what that happens in the story, right? So he plays the riff, which by the way, he knows how to play.
Yeah. Well, because he's been playing it for the last 2 years, Joe. Because everything is the last 2 years. It's a good thing I did this the last 2 years.
Convenience.
So he plays this riff, and then he gets like a clue, right? You're like, oh shit, a clue was given to you because you played this riff. And his mind's like, there's no fucking way Sorrento did this. Keep in mind, Sorrento's already ahead of him. So there's no way he did this. So he probably has an extra clue. The dude's butt naked. And then he, goes back to the altar.
He sure
and
is.
then he was that the that leads into the
castle.
the second gate. I'm fucking skipping around and shit. Oh no, that gets him the crystal key. That's right. That gets him the crystal key. It gets confusing because it's not just getting the key, but it's getting the key and then finding the gate.
Yeah.
And then getting the clue for the next key, and then so on. So that's how he gets the crystal key. But this is when this fucking book gets crazy at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so once he gets the crystal key, it was too late. Sorrento they already knew immediately where they had to go. They had to go to the Hallidays. Halliday has an avatar called Anorak. It was like an old man wizard.
Oh yeah.
Which you'll see in that, and there's a poster going around with the Halliday and that old man in the background. That's Anorak.
Oh yeah.
That's his avatar in the game. So he has like this castle, giant castle where, big fucking surprise, the last gate is in there. But obviously you need to get this fucking key to open it. But Sorrento and his Goonies got to it first. Mm-hmm. They erected a ginormous shield around it, and now no one can get to that gate. Because he knows where it is. He has the key. So at this point, people are pretty much about to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. But stupid-ass Sorrento didn't play the damn guitar riff.
Yep.
So he doesn't know how to open the gate.
Yeah, so it's a stalemate of sorts.
And so, with that in mind, Wade concocts the most insane fucking plan under the fucking universe that shit had no right to succeed.
It's easily my favorite part of the book. And that's what I'll throw that in, man. That when he goes to live by himself and he's kind of in isolation and he's just he's moping around in the oasis. I actually enjoyed this part of the book because it's him finally getting a grip on life, and he starts to transform himself. He starts working out. He starts getting into better shape, you know, and he eventually gets his fervor back to finding the keys. And then he concocts that plan, as you said, and that plan is insane because he basically turns himself in.
Now, mind you, before he does this shit,
yeah,
he sends an email to Artemis H. and Shoto. This is how you get the
third key.
At that point, not only fucking like the third key, but like how to get the because I think at that point they didn't even find the second gate yet.
Yeah.
So he said, "This is how you get the second gate, and this is how you get the third key." I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah.
And he fucking disappears for like 8 days because he does this crazy ass fucking plan. Where he gets himself pretty much in debt with IOI.
Mm-hmm. Well, he assumes an identity, yeah. He does like a different identity.
Creates this new identity, so he become indentured into IOI, where they fucking come to his apartment, blow that door, like cut a hole in that door.
Yeah.
Drag him out, and oh my god, the bravado this fucker has. How the hell? This fucking loser, right? And then the shit, dude, he becomes the fuck like a superhero.
He does becomes the man. He has nothing to lose at this point.
Once again, this is Ernest Cline speaking.
In the third act, he becomes like this fucking superhero. The way he oh god,
dude, he's like James Bond, Superman, everything all like rolled into one.
And this is actually happening in the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets indentured, he gets dragged over here. Now he's inside IOI, being forced to work his debt, like this imaginary debt that he made himself, in the sole purpose of getting into their intranet.
Yeah.
Using keys and codes he bought
on
through
the black
Oasis,
market.
like 2-3 years prior to this.
Wow, I forgot it was that long that he bought those things.
It wasn't something he just got recently.
Shit.
Because he said to himself, I might need these one of these days.
Of course you will.
All according to plan.
And so he uses these keys to get through the back door, and he's grabbing all this information.
Mm-hmm.
He's figuring out, how they're keeping the shield up. He's finding, getting all the information, how they actually have info on Artemis. They have videos of this discussion between him and Sorrento about how he blew up.
Oh yeah.
his house. He has videos of something that happens to another character. Oh, I guess I'm kind of not really saying this because it looks like the movie's kind of going different with this anyway.
Yeah.
I
still think what happens to that character. I still think happens to that character though.
Just probably in a different time. Okay,
yeah, in a different way.
So much these fuckers already know, but
yeah,
I'm still not going to say it. Right. They have video on this shit. All right, and so he's putting all of this on a USB drive, right? But when he finds out that they have info on Artemis, this is when he actually sees a picture of her, finds out her real name and where she lives, and that's when he realizes when he looks at Artemis, like she's still pretty. She just has like one of those birthmarks, those red
wine. They got a wine
marks.
Yeah, wine mark, birthmark on her face.
Like half her face?
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't worry, it doesn't look like that's in the movie anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you see any deformation on her face? Because she wears her hair like over her eye. And then I saw a shot of her with her bangs uncovered, and
I've seen a lot of pictures of her face. I don't see that birthmark.
Yeah. Wow.
Quite a few pictures. It's not on there.
That I thought they would have.
They're not going to put that. They're not going to put that in there.
Man, that's unfortunate because
just like Wade, kind of chubby in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they didn't say he was like people. Wasn't he supposed to be like obesely fat? I'm like,
no. He's just
he was just out of
shape.
Out of shape.
Just out of shape. But he gets into shape because I gotta make my hero become a shape because I'm Ernest Klein.
Yeah. This is what happened to me when I got a little bit of cash. I got into shape.
There you go.
So he gets all this information, but when he finds out that they had all this info on Artemis, he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta warn them. So he got this information. He gets in the lion's den, man. Belly of the beast. Gets in there. Gets this info. He gets the fuck out.
That's a tense moment too, as you don't know because he has to dress up as like a mechanic or something. Like he ends up pulling a Shawshank Redemption basically.
He becomes like
and walks out the fucking front door.
He becomes this fucking the world's greatest con man, like from Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah,
he's just like fucking doing all this shit and walking out like, man, here's a guy that knows how to talk to people.
Yeah, he gets confronted, and you're like, oh, he's got to be busted, but no, he gets.
Sir, he's like, sir, your ear is bleeding? Huh. All right, thanks.
When he runs into that lady who almost blew his cover. That's fucking nuts.
While he's wearing the slippers still.
Yeah.
So he gets in there, gets out, but now he's got this information. And with this information, he knows how to bring the shield down. And he actually, like, I did some awesome thing where I put an order in on the so-and-so day. He does, as a writer, he doesn't say because he's trying to leave it for the climax. So so before I left though, I made sure to put in this order that will happen in about 3 or 4 days. So he walks out and he gets back into the Oasis. He gets the high five together or the high four. Illusion. And he tells everybody what's going on, and of course, I guess Mr. Klein has some issues with whoever dumped him in real life, because what this guy risked his life to go in and get this information, and then he shows the dossier that he shared on everyone that they have, and then the first words out of Artemis's mouth, "Oh my God, you looked at mine, didn't you?" I'm like, I had to, and she gets mad at him.
Yeah, I know she's mad at him for no fucking reason.
So now you saw how I look and where I live. I'm like, holy shit, girl!
Like, who are you? They got guns pointed at us, bitch. That's the least of your problems.
I know where you fucking live. There is video surveillance on you. Get the fuck out your house.
These motherfuckers got photos of you. That's what matters.
Dude, I'm like, dude, Clyde, Mr. Clyde, seriously? I mean,
it's like, bitch, why are you tripping?
You're making this girl look bad, dude. This girl, whoever hurt you in real life, fuck.
Oh my God. I think it's actually pretty cool that they meet each other early. It looks like they meet each other early or much earlier in the film, and I guess.
Dude, the film's going to different.
Yeah, it's definitely going a different angle altogether.
The film looks to be going more into the rebellion of the whole aspect, which we do not get into in this book until where we're getting up to now.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to get back in the Oasis. A couple of these people don't even have access anymore because the Daito had to leave because he found out they know where he lives, and Artemis had to leave because they know where she is. So they don't have any access to the Oasis anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're out of fucking nowhere. Ogden Marrow, which in the film is going to be played by
Simon Pegg.
Scotty.
Yep, Scotty. That's right.
Simon Pegg, who happened to be just there listening this entire time. Oh, don't worry, guys, I got you. You know, so they get invited to his house. They go inside his machines, and they are getting geared up for the big climactic battle of this book. And this is when the revolution begins. This is where Wade is now sending an email because now he's got fucking, fucking scrotes the size of fucking Texas.
Dude, his scrotes are huge at this point.
He's feeling himself.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Like, the transformation is crazy.
And so he sends an email to everyone, calling everyone to fucking arms.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's so feeling himself at this point where he's like at his base, he's getting all his shit together. And he's like, I'm not even going to take my X-Wing. I'm not even going to take my Serenity, which he actually calls throughout the entire book, the Vonnegut.
That's right.
And then he's not even taking his DeLorean that has the Ghostbuster symbols on the doors, the kit laser in the front, and license plate that says Ecto 88. No, I'm taking my fucking the mech I got. He puts it on the ground, says the words, fucking Leopard comes out, but then he says Marvelier, which turns into the ship, and he's flying into the last battle on the Marvelier form. But before he does that, he notices an 8-track machine inside the cockpit, and he pops in fucking Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap. I shit you not. He goes through all these references in the book. He pops in Dirty Deeds. That's why I got that picture of that 8-track. He pops that in as he's going into the final battle. And as he gets there to this planet where the castle is, he realizes everyone's there. So I'm guessing in all those trailers we're seeing that fucking... That's the climactic battle we're seeing.
Yeah, that final battle, I think, is going to be in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much see it.
It's going to be some version of it.
Yeah, you're going to get some version. I don't think it's going to be to spec as the book had it, because there's certain key players.
It actually might be bigger than the book had it, because if you really... This is the one part that's a little crazy, because...
Oh, this is the part you guys are all waiting for.
Yeah,
we're going to start naming off all the shit.
Because in reality, that battle's not that long. Not as much as it took him to get out of the frickin' IOI prison.
Yeah.
So he shows up, right, and everyone's there, and he sees these. I guess 3 giant robots already, like in the forefront, and so of course Wade is the last one. So as he shows up, he transforms into Leopard and he does the fucking Iron Man landing. He even writes in the book, lands on one knee. I'm like,
superhero landings.
So he gets up, right, and then fucking he turns around, and then of course Artemis. God, Artemis has got a real fucking chip on her shoulder at this point. I don't know what her deal is at this point, but then he's like, "Oh, really? Had to be last person. I had to make a grand entrance," and like Wade's like, "Yeah, whatever." But he lands as Leopard, and as he turns over H, he sees H. His mech he picked was the RX. I'll let you guys say, because it's Gundam. You guys are the Gundam guys.
The RX-78-2. Yeah, the OG Gundam from Mobile Suit Gundam. H picks that.
That's why you see that in the trailer. That's H's pick. And I'm like, holy shit, well, I'm surprised that they're going to have this in the book. When I saw that in the trailer, even I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah. So I was
we're all like, oh, damn.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It was straight up Gundam.
Yeah, exactly. Because it looks like Sunrise came to play. Because the Bebop gets a mention in the book from the Cowboy Bebop, that ship. And as we've seen in the poster for this movie, the Swordfish 2, Spike Spiegel's fucking ship, which is not mentioned in the book.
Which is not mentioned in the book, yeah.
But it is in the movie. So it's like, oh, it still borrowed something from Bebop. So that's really cool.
I'm hoping the Bebop's still in there.
Me too. I'm hoping so too. Since the brothers are in the book, I would hope that they would still have the Bebop like they do in the book. So
you guys can name the other 2 that was picked. Artemis picked, was it Minerva? What was the name of that?
She picked the female suit, I believe, from
from
Aphrodite
A
from
it's like a version
from
of
Mazinger
it,
Z.
yeah.
And then
well, pull up the fucking picture with the damn size chart. God.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Wow.
You got it in here, right? Let's see here.
Yeah, it has the names.
I got it. I'm pulling it up.
Sweet Jesus.
I was trying to find it. I don't see it. Oh my good lord! You will have to find it before I do. But yeah, there's others. I don't see it.
It's between Rush and Ready Player One. You put in there. Look for the Rush one. It's right next to it.
Actually, it didn't show. Oh, okay.
You see the Pac-Man, the Rush. Oh, I don't know how you put in the fucking. It's the Minerva X.
The Minerva X. Okay, cool. So that's what it is.
Jesus Christ! So I had to find the damn picture before.
I found it. I got it. There we go. Yes. All right. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So the Minerva X Artemis. Artemis has that, and then the Gundam, the Raideen, is in there.
The Shoto's mech.
And it was just Shoto's mech, and then the Leopardin is of Parsifal's mech, which is really clutch choice. I like the fact that he picked such an obscure suit. I knew that shit wasn't making the movie because Sony ain't having that shit. Sony ain't trying to hear that shit.
I got a feeling. See, this is what confuses me about the trailer. I'm thinking the Leopardin is going to be replaced by the Iron Giant.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah. Probably
as the main as to his mech. But then in the trailer, you literally see Percival walking with the Iron Giant behind him. So I don't know if he's going to be controlling it. He won't actually be inside it because his Iron Giant is not a mech.
That is true. So he must be
a robot.
You know, so it's a sentient fucking robot. So he's not going to be in it, but he's probably going to control it because it is still in the video game rules. And
yeah,
so,
Sorrento has the Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
And so now let's go to the villains. This is the best part. So those are the heroes. And then before they're all waiting there, like, okay, Percival, you said that this shield was going to drop down at noon. And Percival, man, he's feeling himself. There's like no way this fucking plan's going to fail. So he goes into the whole reason that he goes inside is because he puts like in a little order. He gets like one of their little maintenance robots, which just happen to be fucking shaped like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why that picture's in there. And so this robot is going through all the base. It's picking up a bomb and taking it right to the guy holding the orb that's giving the shield, and it blows up, right? Kills all those fucking people. The shield drops. And then the Sixers, IOI, are like, okay. But they also pulled out their robots. Sorrento just happened to pick Mechagodzilla.
Oh yeah,
that's why you see that picture in there. He picks Mechagodzilla, but he also says behind him, other Sixers, one picks Evangelion. That's all he says in the book. He actually doesn't say what unit.
Yeah, they don't make it clear.
The way he says it is like it looks like something out of Evangelion. So we're all guessing it's going to have to be 0-1. Mm-hmm. If they're going to pick any of them, it's going to be 0-1, the most well-known one. Then he says something from Robotech. Okay, again, which one from Robotech?
Nothing.
Again, he didn't say Macross. Robotech. So we're assuming it's just whatever the main character pilots in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the best. And then the best part is like, and then the fucking 5 other people all pick the fucking 5 lions from Voltron, right? And so, and those were the bad guys. I can't remember any other one. The Ava, Mecha, Godzilla, the 5 lions, and I guess a Valkyrie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or the Veritech, yeah.
Veritech. And then so they go into this big battle, but that's my favorite picture right there, the 5 lions, because I guess in the very beginning of the battle, I don't know who did it, but they fucking blasted the shit out of all 5 lions, destroying it. They don't even form Voltron. That's why that picture shows the ghost of Voltron.
The ghost? Yo, they got cock-blocked so hard.
They don't even form the robot. Dude, they got fucked. They don't even talk about what happened to the Ava unit or the fucking Veritech. They don't even fucking know. It's just Mechagodzilla against everyone, because Mechagodzilla fucks up pretty much all of them.
That's the heavyweight.
No, I remember now. H and Artemis, they get by them. They quickly jump out their mechs, pick up their artifacts, and run in because we never explained that. They found out the trick to opening the crystal gate, and this is why Sorrento can never open it, because you need 3 people to open it at once.
Mm-hmm.
Halliday wanted it to be a 3-player showdown all at once. So that's why I needed 3 people to open the gate. And that's why you'll see that picture of 3 is the magic number. Because, of course, fucking Wade figured that shit out immediately. That was something to do with that song. But I figured out, we kind of all figured out when we heard that after that guitar riff, it takes 3. 3 to open the door. Oh, duh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had to go through all that shit. I think at that point, Mr. Klein just didn't give a fuck.
Hey, but anyway, just trying to get it done.
Yeah. I think he gave a fuck. So they get past them. And then, of course, they need either Artemis or Shoto to show up. Mm-hmm. But Shoto, wanting something that happened earlier in the story, he said, "You guys go on. I want to fight this guy."
Right.
But dude, Mechagodzilla fucking sliced was it Raiden?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah.
In half.
Raiden.
Dude, you're not. Yeah, Mechagodzilla, dude, you crazy?
You can't take him all. That's too much soup.
Fucking crazy. And then Percival was about to get past with his Leopard, but he said, "Nah, I gotta fight this guy because I'm feeling myself. I'm the main hero. Come on now. I gotta fight this guy." So he turns around. He gets fucking destroyed by Mechagodzilla. Leopard also not a fucking match to Mechagodzilla. Come on, man. We all know this. Why are you doing this? Mm-hmm. And so he pulls out the Ultraman capsule. And then they have this great showdown between Ultraman and Mechagodzilla. And then being a big fucking nerd, as we're reading this book, I'm like, holy shit, we're going down. Mm-hmm. And they're, this book is like giving us like this fucking fantasy wet dream of these battles between all these mechs and shit. And that's what really a lot of us take away from this book. Is just the climax is just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get this in the movie, but there's no fucking way, man. No way. I'm going to watch this entire movie just waiting for this climax, just to see what they were able to put in.
That's the same here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the same thing, yeah.
I think it's going to fall a little short of what the book had. Unless they have some surprises that they're not showing yet.
I already told Cerebro, if I don't see a fucking fight between Mechagodzilla and fucking Ultraman, I'm out.
Spoilers!
I'm getting it out. I need to hear that shot. And so that fight happens. Something pretty epic does happen. Well, he beats Sorrento, but there's still more to this book. That's the crazy thing.
Hell, I'll take Jet Jaguar if we can't get Ultraman.
Oh, you know what?
Jet Jaguar does show up in the book.
Oh, that's true, right?
I can't remember. No, Jet Jaguar is. I don't think is
one of the
mention. Mechs list. I don't know if he was one of the mechs listed or he might have been one of the show. No, I think he's one of the mechs mentioned because there's a portion. Because remember how we were talking about how Artemis had her TV show.
Yeah,
each had his TV show. The Japanese characters had their TV show, and they're the ones that were playing shit like Johnny Sacco or
Giant Robo,
and whatever that picture with that fucking gold robot that's fucking creepy as shit.
Oh yeah, pulling up now.
I forgot what that show is called. Something Giants of the Galaxy Universe.
You got me on that one. This looks like Johnny Sacco to me. I thought that was Johnny Sacco with that kid with the helmet, but
it's a show called like Giants of the whatever. Defend. I don't know, man. If Ramsey's in the chat, he'll fucking know.
Yeah, Ramsey's will know. That is his forte.
I know that show. What the hell? I'm fucking ruining these shows. That one, that fucking picture right there.
Oh my god, that is wild stuff. And that's why anime exists.
Look at that shit, man.
Oh my god.
So, that battle happens. The hero wins, and he quickly runs into the third gate. So we got Percival, Artemis, and H at the third gate. But when Sorrento loses a fucking avatar, he quickly jumps into another one because IOI cheats. They're a bunch of fucking bullshitters,
scumbags.
And then once they're about to pretty much open the last gate, something really fucked up happens. Should I tell them more?
Yeah, I mean, if anything,
we've been saying everything else. I mean, there's still some shit we haven't said.
Yeah, but yeah, you might as well tell them.
It turns out that IOI has an artifact.
You've done the audiobook.
we kind of went more in depth than I thought we would.
A little bit, yeah.
But he uses the neutron bomb, I suppose, of some sort. Sorrento does, right?
Fact that since fucking Wade pretty much put everyone in the same area.
Yeah.
IOI has an artifact that is a ginormous nuke that will kill everyone in a sector.
Yep.
He sets off this bomb just when they were going to go through the gate. Everyone that was in that sector is dead. Dead.
Gone.
But
Gone. I'm talking about all their level 99s or whatever items they had, except for artifacts. Gone.
Quite literally the nuclear option he fucking pulled right there. He said, if we can't get it, nobody will. And fucking...
Sorrento purposely kept some avatars out of that sector for that purpose and that purpose alone. So
Absolutely.
when he nukes it, after the gate is open, he could just have those people go into that sector and go through the gate. Because as far as he's concerned, everyone is dead. But guess who isn't?
Well, not momentarily is, but then because of
something pops up on his screen. Congratulations, you have an extra life.
Yeah.
Remember, as we talked about earlier, that quarter that dropped from the Pac-Man machine after he did the perfect game because he's again only one of 6 people in the world that probably pulled it off.
Him and Billy Mitchell.
Which now we wonder if it's even real.
Oh yeah, that shit. That's right. He got exposed. Let me stop. Yeah, thanks for him getting. Thanks to Parcel for getting that quarter. He pretty much got a second chance, an extra life, and got immediately resurrected on the spot with nothing.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Which is pretty cool because I think once that happened, we realized that's probably what the quarter is for, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. When leading up to that point, it's like when the explosion happened, it's like that fucking quarter better bring him back, and sure enough, it did. It's like good shit. Because there was no point in him getting that shit, and it's like if this is a what's it called fucking Chekhov's gun. It better fucking do something, and sure enough, it did. Brought him back to life, and he was able to get inside.
It was pretty cool too how that played out. And then the fucking gate is floating in the sky. He can't even get to that shit, so he's running around freaking the fuck out. But it turns out it destroyed just regular items, not artifacts. So he was able to get his Ultraman again, but he can't use Ultraman again because you can only do it once a day. And he's freaking like, how the fuck do I get up there? And then Artemis tells him, because this whole time the High Four were actually talking to each other on comms. And he said, if you look around, look for my Chuck Taylors. That's why there's a picture of Chuck Taylors in there. And it let him fly up to the gate. He goes through the gate. We haven't really gone too much detail about what's inside these gates. And then pretty much he goes through the gates. He does what needs to be done. All the while, Sorrento's right fucking behind him, like by 9 minutes. So they're racing for that fucking egg. Then at the very end, shit happens. He runs into Halliday. You know, Willy Wonka at the end. You lose, sir. No, he actually wins. He wins the whole thing. He's fucking the richest, most powerful fucking child in the world.
And he's given a choice. An interesting choice as well.
There is this thing that does come up in there. It's like, by the way, let me show you something. He shows him this, and then we leave it at that. So I'm like, okay, this is for either a sequel or something. I don't know. That I won't say. And then, and that's it. He fucking wins. Sorrento gets hauled off of the fucking jail, but don't worry, he'll get out, you know. And then he leaves there, and he finally fucking meets Artemis in the real world. And then after all that, he says, you know what? I don't want to go back to the Oasis. And that's it. Book's over.
Yeah, I mean, now that he's rich, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, right?
Oh, my God. Well, ultimately, man, I had a blast reading this book. Well, sorry, let me fix my face. Listening to this book, man.
Fix your face.
It's silly. I'll say that. I see some people in the chat saying, I'm cringing just hearing this.
Motherfucker.
It's like when you get into the thrust of the story, it actually is quite entertaining. At least I thought so. Neo, man, what? How did you feel about the book overall, man?
It's entertaining. I mean, I know that we got a little bit on the dialogue. We're just trying to kind of warn people, because one of the things that you'll hear about this book is people will sit there and be like, "Oh, this is the greatest book ever written."
Yeah.
And then there's people that, "Oh, it's written like shit." It's neither one. It's adequate. It's just when you got to be prepared that for those first couple of chapters, it's going to be tough. And there's going to be points where you're going to, if you're reading the book, like I did, you're going to have to sometimes reread the dialogue chains because there's no real difference because everybody is Ernest Cline in this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think in the end, I like the world. I actually, at the beginning when they kind of flesh out the world, I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about the outside world, outside of the Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
I did find
it looks like it's going to do.
Yeah, I did find it funny though that there was like power is really expensive and everything, and Wade's got to like do this thing where he uses a bike to charge a battery. Yet he's able to be on the Oasis all the time. So there's some like things you're just kind of like scratching your head on, but it's very interesting because it. I know this book was written 2009 or something like that.
2011 it came out.
2011.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he published it in 2011.
It's funny because I think at that time there were some things that seemed like they wouldn't be like the internet stardom stuff isn't the way it was back then and it is now. And especially when you go through the thing where Percival's once he gets the first key and he becomes like an instant celebrity, and it's like, how does he even, he's getting all these endorsements for no reason other than he just won the game. I thought that was pretty appropriate, especially in today. But I think it's an entertaining book. I'm really interested in seeing how. I know it's not going to be the same because movies of books are always going to have some differences in it. But damn it, I hope they kind of if they can keep maybe 60 or 70% of the final battle in the book and put it on the movie, I think you might have a pretty successful movie, a pretty fun movie.
I mean, the reason why we went to this detail about as much as we did on this recording for in this book is so that way you guys now know a reference, because when you see the movie, holy shit, look at a lot of these, a lot of these are going to be different.
Yeah,
the trailer
absolutely.
shows this fucking grand race, which looks to be for the Copper Key.
Mm-hmm.
That shit doesn't happen in the book.
Oh no,
we just
no,
told
not
you
even.
guys. We just told you guys. He goes through he's on a school planet, goes to the Tomb of Horrors, and fucking plays an arcade machine of Joust.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So things are going to be,
so
things are going to be
that doesn't seem
embellished.
as interesting. That doesn't seem as interesting as this fucking grand
No,
race
it
where you
doesn't.
got Bigfoot and fucking the motorcycle from fucking Akira.
Yeah.
The DeLorean.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well for a cinematic story where you want to be telling things on a grander scale while you have this wild looking race that everybody's going to be playing a part in, that I think is actually going to work out a lot better for the
I don't
movie.
even know where the fuck King Kong comes from.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I don't either. Yeah.
Where the fuck is King Kong coming from?
Because he's not even mentioned in the book. If I don't remember.
I don't either.
Yeah.
No, he's not in there at all.
Not even mentioned. So
it's like they're definitely going to go a completely different route, but obviously it looks like they're going to be focusing more on the real world, which makes sense to me, because if you made the entire movie inside the Oasis, that's you might as well just make a CG movie,
yeah,
a CG animated film. So, and that's taking away something that Spielberg does so well is directing people.
Mm.
He's really does a great job at directing people, so that's why it looks like in this film he's doing a lot more scenes out in the real world. I mean, fucking like in the book, Z and Artemis don't even meet until the very last page.
That's true.
Yeah.
They don't meet each other for real on like practically the last page.
And
obviously, that's different in this movie in these trailers that we're seeing. So they're definitely going a completely different route. Like most of this trailer shows him inside like that van. I'm like, dude, he gets an apartment.
Yeah.
After they make an attempt on his life.
They're like, this Iron Giant. Why the fuck is the Iron Giant? He's not even in the fucking what? And they never explain. They never say H is this damn giant cyborg ogre.
No, they say he's just a big dude. That's just pretty much it. Like a big white dude. They make a point to point out that he's actually a tall white guy who's handsome, and then you find out the twist. As you can probably see,
this trailer gives it completely.
Oh, this trailer gives it away.
Which is funny. I never once mentioned it in this whole fucking show.
Yeah, you did.
Not once, but it's all in that fucking trailer.
It's all in the trailer, so it's hard to miss. But when you find out who H really is, H has a really cool backstory too. I actually enjoyed that in the book, and it definitely explains that character quite a bit and why that character takes that avatar in the in the Oasis. So it all makes sense in the end, and you get to find out the meaning of H and what that really means. And yeah, I like the characters in this story, man. I as much as they had some cornball dialogue, I thought that they brought a lot of color to the story overall.
A fun book hopefully makes a fun movie.
Yeah,
makes for a fun movie.
I mean, maybe they're not the most well rendered characters, especially since Artemis kind of becomes annoying towards the end of the book. But before that, she was mad cool. The first two arcs, she was super cool. And I liked her character, and then towards the end of the book, she started to become standoffish because, she thought her privacy was violated, and it was by the corporation. But I don't know why she wants to take it up.
Trying to kill you.
Yeah, about people trying to kill you, but don't take it on the guy who's trying to save you. But I can understand how she feels that way because who wants to be stalked? No one wants to be stalked, and he was an easy person to take it out on at that time. But even then, she came around.
It's based on what he did earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, she just blew it. She does blow it out of proportion a little bit, way too much. But yeah, that was kind of the annoying thing. It's like, wait a second, you're at a point where, and even that this IOI is trying to kill you guys, and they have a body count, and yet I see that you're pissed that he violated trust, but he's you could have been killed. Yeah.
Your family could have been put in danger and all that shit if he didn't fucking do what he did to get you out of there. So, yeah, man. Again, my favorite part in the book is when he goes on the lam, gets an apartment, and eventually comes up with that crazy ass plan to infiltrate IOI and go in there like some indentured servant in order to hack into their systems and do what he does to help the cause. And then, of course, the final battle. Of course, the whole third act, although it's kind of moves a lot faster than I thought it was going to, I really did enjoy. I thought the book did a good job of building up to that. It meanders a little bit in the second act, I gotta say.
The part of the book where you actually want them to come blast you with a bunch of fucking references of the robots and ships and shit.
They don't do it. Over.
Yeah. Nope.
Really, you mentioned the fucking Voltron lines in the next sentence they already blown the fuck up. What?
and you went through a whole thing of Lady Hawk and war games, and I mean it's just, oh my god.
Yeah. So we're hoping the movie will delve more into that because I think it's more of a visual thing, and he probably didn't want to go through all that describing all that visuals of. I mean, how is he going to do it? This guy that we just read his entire book describing about these fights between these mechs and shit. Like, just, oh god, Spielberg, I hope you fucking pick up that shit.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Spielberg directing this film is that he doesn't want to delve on any of his films that are referenced in the book. He wants to avoid any of his films, period. He wanted to direct a movie, but he wanted to leave his films out of it, which I don't know how that's possible because ultimately there's at least one or two they kind of have to reference.
I mean, whatever was Spielberg related was just references anyway. Yeah. So you can easily swap it out with anything else. None of Spielberg's work were part of the keys or the gates.
Yeah,
those are the big ones.
Do you
Everything else is a reference.
Do you think they're gonna bring to life any of the movies that they put into?
I'm kind of confused how the word rights is for Blade Runner, but the original Blade Runner, they have the rights for it. That's Warner Brothers.
You know what's wild is at the same time that they were filming this, they were filming Blade Runner 2049. So it would have been nothing for them to go to some of those sets and film some of those scenes for this fucking movie too.
But like the second one, isn't that like Sony's money in that one now?
The second one, possibly, but if Warner Brothers helped with the production, then I'm sure they could probably have gotten permission to use those sets. It's Spielberg.
It doesn't matter. This is kid from the first film.
Yeah.
The Tyrell building is not even in the second movie.
It isn't it though? I think it is in
Pyramid?
the pyramid's in the
Tyrell,
second film.
The Tyrell Corporation don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, but the building's still there, I thought.
Was it?
Yeah,
the pyramid?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I need to go back and watch 2049. But I thought we did see it. It's just all the lights were out. Didn't they go there? Because Homeboy now lives in that building. Jared Leto's character lives in the building, and some of the lights are off, and that's where the records are from the so-called fire. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but I believe that building is in that movie, because I was thinking about that when they were filming. Both films were filming at the same time, so it's like, well, Blade Runner plays a pretty big part in the book. I'm wondering if they're gonna, if Spielberg, uses chicanery to go film some scenes.
Point is, they're referencing shit from the first film.
Yeah,
and so they should have the rights for that, because the Von Kampf test is not even in the second film.
No, it isn't. They have a completely different test than that. Yeah.
So, and that shit was part of the, what was that, the second gate?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, second gate.
It led him to Black Tiger, if I recall.
Yeah, so, but the big movies.
Yeah.
The big movies were like War Games.
Yep.
Lady Hawk.
Blade Runner. Lady Hawk was a discussion they could probably easily swap with.
Yeah, that's
else.
true.
But when it comes to the gates and the keys, War Games.
Your favorite
Holy
movie,
Grail.
Holy Grail, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite movie.
Oh, yeah.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We should make clear for anybody who's wondering. But yeah, you hate that movie so goddamn much.
It's not that I hate the movie. I'm just not a big fan of Monty Python.
Oh, true. I don't know what's wrong with you, bro. I love those guys. I love them.
Sorry.
Oh.
I feel like I gotta either be drunk or high, I guess, to be watching those things.
By the way, props to Ramses. He clarified that picture is from Ambassador Magma. Ambassador Magma is the name of that show. I've heard of that vaguely. I had no idea what the fuck that was, though. Shout outs to Ramses, of course. But yeah,
it's referenced differently in the book.
In the book, it must have a different name. But man, all I know is this: it's
but Holy Grail, War Games, Blade Runner. Those were some of the major fucking films that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the references throughout when it comes to the movie. But Spielberg-wise, believe it or not, there's really not much of Spielberg references in there to begin with. There might have been a poster here and there.
Yeah, it's just very few, if
so
any.
what Spielberg says he's going to try to stay away from whatever his references are, then fine. He's talking about more of a movie-type thing, because even if you don't do the shit directly from the book, he was still a major part of the 80s in the films.
Yeah.
So this movie is going to probably delve into shit that even the book didn't touch. I mean, we're already seeing video game characters that didn't even exist when this book came out. I'm talking about characters like Tracer from Overwatch.
Oh yeah, true. But the movie itself isn't stuck completely in the 80s.
And we're going to see references from WB movies like fucking Harley Quinn and
they're
Deathstroke shit, man.
They're gonna have some DC characters in there. They were also filming Justice League at the time they were making this movie. Would it be nuts if those characters showed up in the battle scene?
They're going to all the W shit, because WB is gonna fucking bring in. We're gonna see Harry Potter shit in there, because remember when the WB fucking ruled?
Yeah, they used to be the studio, man. What the fuck happened?
Disney.
Disney came in and smacked them in the face. But here's something I thought of, and this, of course, is not going to happen. So take this with a grain of salt. But would you flip out if in that final battle scene that you see characters from the Justice League DCEU movie fighting alongside some of the cats from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Would you flip the fuck out if they actually managed to get cameos from like Chris Evans and them playing those characters? Do you think that has any shot of happening in that film at all?
No.
But this is from the guy who produced Roger Rabbit, though. People said that couldn't happen.
That's a different time,
man.
I mean, I guess we're lucky enough to see shit like Duke Nukem and like Laura Croft is in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Master Chief and Freddy.
I think,
oh my god, that trailer, that part with the fucking all the Spartans running, and then it switches to back to these kids and dudes like fucking running through the streets holding guns. I'm like, dude, please don't be in the movie. That shit was like so cringy. I was like, oh god, don't be in the movie, please.
People running into the street with their VR stuff on. I don't know how they pull that off without running into traffic.
How the fuck did they not get run over?
I don't know. But any other thoughts about the book or what you guys might expect to see in the movie before we jump to our next review, which will probably have to make it real tight. But
do you want to do it, or I mean, because this is going to be real tight. Because
dang, we did advertise we were going to talk about Black Panther, so we could.
Hey, you guys told me fucking Ready Player One.
Yeah, true.
Like,
we can talk about Black.
I had asked Soul Bro if he wanted to do something separately with Black Panther.
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, we'll just do it with Ready Player One."
Well, I
was like,
hey, look.
"Okay, I guess that'll work."
I guess
like,
Leo, for us to read the book, I guess we figured we know a lot more content to talk about than the person that heard it.
Yeah,
damn it,
I guess
fellas.
so. I mean, but
people have been waiting for the blackness. We'll keep it. We'll make a nice 10-minute conversation and we'll wrap it up. No worries. Yeah, we can.
Okay, we can do 10 minutes.
We can do 10 minutes of Black Panther
because we don't need to go into the story, and I guess we can just.
I'm not going to do an overview. We're just going to talk about the movie. That's it. So I expect the people
thoughts of it.
There you
our
go.
Thoughts about it.
People who are listening to the review, you have had to see the movie to know what the fuck we're talking about. But anyway, what are our scores for the Ready Player One book? Neo, I'll turn it over to you, sir. Out of 5.
3.5 beta capsules out of 5.
Beta capsules. I would give the book, because I had a lot of fun with it. Me being the listener, I'd give it 4 out of 5 perfect Pac-Man games, and we'll leave it up to Show to give his score for the book. What would that be?
I can't really. I'm like trying to find something else here, so I can't really think of any fancy schmancy rating. But I guess for reading the book, and I actually I read it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'll give it 4 out of 5 nostalgic cum blasts.
There you go.
For 4 nostalgic cum blasts all over your face.
Nostalgia bukkake all over your face.
I mean, I know I shit on the dialogue, but like I said, I read the book and enjoyed it. And then every time I go online and when they bring up the movie and they talk about this book, the comments, everyone wants to shit on this book.
Man, yeah.
When I see that type of shit, it comes off as people want to show the world, oh, I'm so cultured when it comes to books.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get from when I hear these comments. Like, man, this is such a shitty written book and blah blah blah. I don't know why everyone's fucking loving it and blah blah blah.
I mean, when you read about that, it's the guy's first book. Yeah. I can tell it's the first book.
Exactly.
So I'm we were tough on the dial. It's just because for whatever reason he's just not very good at the dial. But when it came to like fleshing out things and all that, I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't have too much of an issue. And that third act pick is so much vastly different than the first two. But let's do Black Panther.
All right. Well, Black Panther, of course, is a film, the 18th film in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe chain. The 18th, man. We are almost at 20 films, guys. And Phase 3 is going to round out with, I think, 21 films when everything is said and done. But Black Panther is the 21st. The 18th film in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is directed by Ryan Coogler, who directed Fruitvale Station and Creed. He also helped to write it along with Joe Robert Cole, who a lot of people know from writing The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Musical score by Ludwig Göransson, who also did music for Fruitvale Station and Creed. And it came out recently on February the 16th, 2018. Last weekend, for the most part, man. When it comes down to this movie picks up a week after Captain America Civil War.
I thought you weren't going to give a synopsis.
I'm just setting things up. Comes out a week after Captain America Civil War. T'Challa is Prince T'Challa is returning home for his coronation as king. He reunites with his ex-girlfriend. And of course, it's at a somber reasoning for the coronation, only because his father was tragically killed in Civil War. Of course, all sorts of things ensue: conflict, challenges for the throne, and a rival who's the dark version of T'Challa, aka Eric Killmonger, and his mysterious backstory come to roost. the
dark version.
the Black Mirror version of T'Challa, man. That he's his dark rival. And he shows up to challenge for the throne, and there's a backstory behind him, and you find that out in the movie, and then there's all sorts of action-packed adventure, and we'll just get right into it. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Neo. What was your thoughts when you were watching Black Panther, sir?
Well, I mean, for a movie that I believe wasn't on the slate like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Black Panther was not even part of Phase 2 when Phase 2 started.
No,
right?
not at
when
all.
It was announced.
It was a Phase 3 movie, and it didn't even get announced until 2014.
Yeah, so, I mean, what's striking about this movie is, first off, the visuals. It's unlike any other Marvel movie because it's not what you've seen in the other Marvel movies. It's an African planet, or it's an African country. Planet, yeah.
You fear for Black Planet? No?
The characters are so vastly different. We have very few people outside of Black Panther and Claw. There's not too much more that in some of the flashbacks that we see from Captain America Civil War. It's completely in its own right. Everything is based within this country. The music, we get to see this country's customs. We get to see why their reasoning behind why they are the way they are, as they're hiding from the world. They don't want people to take advantage of the technology that they've amassed because they're vastly more superior than others. I think this might be one of the best Marvel villains, because in a way he's not a true villain. Because if you look at what he says and what he actually is fighting for, he's kind of justified. In the end, he doesn't win because, yes, we need T'Challa to be, because he's the Black Panther. But if this was not within the Marvel Universe, this is a situation where you could sit there and go, you know what? He's right. Killmonger's right. They should be doing because he brings up many points about, specifically, we've hidden from society for so long, yet our people in the world have been taken advantage of and are still disadvantaged. Why don't we do more? Because we should be saving our own people. You sat here for decades watching people that look like you being taken advantage of, killed, enslaved, and whatever, because you were too worried about protecting your technology. Yeah. And it is a point where you go, you know what, he's right. And and the other problem is he is T'Challa's cousin, because he's his uncle's son, and also in line for the throne, ironically. Yeah, and his uncle's son.
He even says it to T'Challa, cuz.
Hello, Auntie. Hi, Auntie.
Hi, Auntie. Yeah, that shit killed me.
But the other thing is that the Wakandans were wrong, because we won't go into it, but they should have allowed this kid to come back. Yeah. And they created their own problem.
They sure did.
But that, and he might have probably one of the most powerful dying lines I've ever heard. And I mean, his death scene alone, spoiler alert, and what he says is so impactful that it just sits there and makes you think. And
I did a black fist on that one.
Yeah, because it is.
Raise your fist.
Yeah, pretty much.
I raised it at least 3 times. Oh yeah.
It's very interesting to have a Marvel movie that's a superhero movie that actually has a lot of social commentary in it, and provokes a lot of thinking, and does it in a way where it's not saying you're wrong or you're right. It just says this is where we're at, and these are the ways that these people look at it. So that's my take on Black Panther. So, bro.
I mean, the way coming out of here, it's like I feel like this is the Shakespearean tale they probably wanted to sell in Thor.
Yes.
when they got fucking Brana, a guy who's nothing but Shakespearean fucking background.
Absolutely.
And this movie did a far better job.
Yeah.
This was a deep. This is one of those films when you first watch them, like, man, this is a good fucking movie. But after the thinking, you take away so much from it, and the more you think about it, it's like, fucking damn. It's not just the story; it's how the characters carried themselves throughout this film. And after you see the film, like, shit, I can see why he did it this way, and I see it that way. It's like, fuck, I can see why he hates Wakanda so fucking much. Because when you stop and think about it, you let these people take these people away from this this country.
Exactly.
You did nothing. You let them take them away. They saw it. Like, look at these colonizers.
These colonizers.
Yeah, but fuck it, we're gonna stay here, man. We're cool. We got this tech.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and so when you end it, oh man. But no, pretty much everything you guys take away with it is pretty much the same as I do. So
I know when it
highly
comes
enjoyable film.
highly. I've got to say I watched this movie and I didn't think it was gonna hit me as hard as it did because I love the MCU. I've enjoyed every last one of those movies in the theater, even the bad ones. I've enjoyed.
Did you go home and dig out one of your African medallions?
I sure did. I got my pick with the black fist.
What's fucking
Yo, we back. No, when I went to go see this, I knew it was going to be political. I knew it was going to bring some things up that have been in the news as of lately. I didn't think that the isolationism would be a reflection of our politics nowadays here in the United States, but it kind of is a reflection of what's going on right now, like building a wall to keep people out. And not wanting to withdrawing ourselves from other countries and things like that. And of course, when it comes to race relations and how black people are pretty much have been on the back foot for centuries, and the fact that this nation exists and hasn't done anything to kind of help pull brothers and sisters out of the struggle when they have the ability to do so was something I so was glad to hear that they brought up in the movie. But on the other side of things, to have a nation like Wakanda even exist is like a utopia that I would never thought I'd ever see in film. And it was really interesting to see that on film. It was a place that I immediately wanted to travel to and visit. And I felt reticent after the movie was over that it's like, man, I'm sad this place doesn't exist because I wish it did.
They allowed me in.
They better open the borders to everybody, man. And that's what you find out at the end of the movie when they approach the world and say that they have.
Keep in mind, Eric. Killmonger, to get in, he had to kill a white man.
He had to kill. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And then the other white guy.
If that's the ticket to get in.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and keep in mind the other white guy was in there because he got shot in the back taking a bullet for the princess. So, yeah, a lot of white blood's being spilled to get into Wakanda.
All these broken white boys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I love that reference when she says, "Oh, you brought me another broken white boy to fix." It's like, yeah, who was the first? Of course, we know who the first was, and that's
we all loved Shuri in this film.
Shuri was awesome. Some people are talking about her possibly being Ironheart in the future in future films, like her being an amalgam of that character. That would be really cool because she's already technologically inclined, and I think she would take to an Iron Man suit like a duck to water. She probably improved Tony's suit. Matter of fact, I'm so excited to see if those two are going to interact because she's in Infinity War. So if those
they're going to Wakanda.
Holy shit, man! If those two interact, gosh, she's gonna upgrade the fuck out that Iron Man suit for real. It's gonna be amazing. But
because keep in mind, Tony doesn't have access to really that much vibranium to create a suit of his own.
Yeah, and
now that he's going to Wakanda, and they're gonna work. Holy shit.
He's gonna get the ultimate Iron Man suit, man. It's gonna fucking drape over him like a Black Panther suit, man. That's gonna be nuts.
What is that on your feet?
But she was his cue, man, and that I thought was dope. This movie was part espionage film, a little bit of James Bond and Mission Impossible thrown in.
I think that's the other thing, and that'd be something else I'd put in there is the role of women in Wakanda.
Woo!
is something, and it seems even appropriate with some of the stuff that we're seeing now with women and the equality movement and things like that. And you have a situation in Wakanda where women are, like you said, Shuri's just this out and out brilliant girl that's able to create things.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you have, you know, the King's Guard is basically these warrior women who are more feared on the battlefield than the men.
Yeah,
and even the men fear them. So
and Flame brings up a good point. Another thing to note is the women here are sexualized. It's women of like all shapes and sizes in the Dora Milaje, and you know they're all gorgeous, and they're all intimidating, man. When you got to see Ayo in Civil War, that was the Dora Milaje you got to see in that film. She returns in this movie with the rest of them, and then you get introduced to Okoye, who's played by Danai Gurira, who a lot of people know as Michonne on The Walking Dead. She killed it, man. She was easily one of my favorite characters in this film. And
don't forget the one of the first lines in the fucking movie fucking killed me. There's a couple of Grace Jones looking chicks in the front door.
That was sad. Oh man!
Should I let them in? They ain't gonna knock again.
They're not gonna knock again, boy. Hey, when the homeboy's accent turned on the dime, boy. When he revealed that he was the brother of the king of Wakanda.
That whole reveal was fucking great because we didn't get the whole of it in the beginning, and then we got the other part of that reveal like in the
midway through the movie.
Shit.
Yeah, and that's one of the few times in the film you see T'Challa lose his cool, because he's cool throughout the whole film, and he kind of is
regal.
He bounces off of the people. I love the fact that some people said, well, he really wasn't all that emotional in the film. It's because he has this veneer where he keeps himself in check, and I love the fact that he keeps himself grounded, and he carries himself with regalness.
Like
Dude, for real. But
there's parts where you shut up, you keep your emotions in check.
Exactly, but the cast bounces off of him so well. See, what I wanted out of T'Challa in Civil War. That motherfucker was on fire. That whole goddamn movie. But in this, he's the center of he's the eye of the storm. He found his cool. Exactly. But he lost his cool in that argument he had with Forrest Whitaker's character. When he was trying to get to the bottom of what happened, and he wanted the truth. Tell me the truth. I forget what that movie had. Tell me the truth. I am your king. If the motherfucker pops off, boy.
Not to tell him, then he fucking had to remind him, I am your king. I'm like, okay.
He got emotional when he needed to, and that of course unveiled that whole backstory about what happened to.
Sometimes your boss doesn't want to remind you that he's your boss, but man, you pushed him.
Yeah. Exactly. And
I'm not going to tell you again. Don't talk to me like you're my little sister. You're the only one that gets away with this shit.
Delete that footage. Shuri's the only one where he like completely drops his cool with too. Besides that argument, though, he's a different person around her, and I appreciate it. You got to see different sides of the man throughout the film. But ultimately, man, the star of the show in this film is Michael B. Jordan. Let's just face facts. That guy, when he finally comes to fruition and he makes his play, oh my God, Black Jeeta. Yeah. He comes through and kills it, man. And every scene he's in, he steals. It's from the opening scene when he's in the museum and they pull off that heist. All the way to the end of the film where he's having that back and forth, and as Neo said, he ends the film on a killer ass line. I'll let you see it for yourself. If you're watching this review and you haven't seen the movie yet, and we're spoiling it all for you, I'm gonna save that for you.
I wasn't even expecting that line, but when he dropped that line, even I was like, damn.
Yeah, that was because I thought, you thought he would just do a normal thing, but when he said that, I was like, you gotta be kidding. He just said that shit.
I looked up and saw Malcolm X in the clouds, and he put up a fist.
Shit, like I said, I put up a fist. I was like, fuck, man, I'm
Jesus Christ.
Exactly. My fist was itching upward because I'm like, whoa.
Oh, my God. But yes, speaking of Killmonger, shout out to Yazzie. He hit me with this tweet earlier. He said, Killmonger's vision. I saw this picture going around the internet. That looks like Corey Coleman from Spill. But look at this fucking picture. It's so stupid. Oh my God. Shout out to Yazzie. Yazzie also mentioned, he was the first to mention Ambassador Magma. So shout out to Yazzie there. But yeah, your Killmonger, we couldn't let that rock, Killmonger. I'm sorry, man. No, we don't need, nobody needs to be in bondage, God damn it.
Real quick, I did say in the chat that, yes, remember, you guys know it as Ambassador Magma, but Mr. Klein is referring to what is called here, which was the Space Giants.
The Space
Same
Giants.
thing, he never called it Macross, he calls it Robotech.
Robotech.
From the
You got a problem with it? Send your tweets to Mr. Ernest Klein.
Ernest Klein.
Yeah.
Apparently Ernie.
There you
Yeah,
go.
if you're Soul Bro. Yeah.
Hey man,
If
we
you-
just
if you
cool
see
like
a
that.
DeLorean, if you see a DeLorean with Ghostbuster symbols on the sides with the Ecto 88 in the back, that's him.
So,
But
right.
anyway,
But yeah, man, the
Black
cast
Panther.
the cast is on point. I'll bring this to a quick close. Fantastic film. I'm sorry we didn't get to spend too much time talking about it, but I will say this.
Well, you should have been promising shit that wasn't.
Look, man, I thought we could squeeze them both in. Here's a consolation prize. Two things. Number one, next versus the Gundam Nation. I already told people we're gonna have a spoiler-filled discussion about it. So join us during that session to become a part of that, and let me know what you guys think about the movie overall. I look forward to conversing with you guys about that. Number two, also our friends over at Shin Station Europe on Saturday are coming together to talk about Black Panther exclusively, and you can watch that over on tinyurl.com/ShinStationEurope at 4:30 p.m. EST. So check them out. Also follow them on Twitter at ShinStationEU, and if you want to become a part of that conversation in the chat, by all means. But this is not the last time I'll be talking about Black Panther. I want to see it again. I probably will be seeing it this weekend along with game night. So real quick, Neo, what would you any last thoughts about the movie and what's your score?
no, I'd say if you haven't seen Black Panther, go ahead and see it. It's well worth the money. And I'd probably have to give it 5 broken white guys out of 5, or 5 broken white boys out of 5.
Goodness.
5 broken white boys to fix.
Yeah, out of 5.
Indeed. Show what are your last thoughts and what is your score, sir?
You know, for the Cougs. See, that's what I'm gonna call them.
Cougs? There you go.
You got Ernie. I got the Cougs.
The Cougs, bro.
What Coogler was able to pull off for this film was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, some of the subject matter that you would think that Disney and MCU will fucking shy away from.
I'm very
Killmonger
surprised.
He
Yeah.
brought that shit to it, man, and just the message that was told, it's just perfect at this time. And even though it was dark, those messages, there's so many positives to take away from this film.
Mm-hmm.
The positives for the women, for this culture, it's a celebration. It's a celebration.
So
And then this is from an honorary black guy.
Honorary.
With all that being said, I mean, there is some negatives. I mean, I feel like the CG was rough.
Yeah, that definitely could have used some more touching up and a bit more budget put towards that.
And some action sequences were like they were just there. They almost felt like a distraction.
Yeah.
Mainly probably the very first one, because when he got hooked up with his ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the very beginning, I'm like, oh, that was just quickly thrown in there, wasn't it? I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the car chase scene. I thought it was actually more funny than anything.
I was cool with it, man. It had a lot of good moments.
But was I floored by it? No, because you really got to see a lot of rough of the CG on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people probably had some issues with the rhinos. I didn't really care when I saw them, but I know people have issues with those CG rhinos.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care either.
And we never brought up that fucking turncoat piece of shit. Thought he was his friend.
Oh, you talking
Asshole.
about homie from Get Out, Daniel Kaluuya?
Get out.
I wanted him to get out of Wakanda.
That fucker in that movie lost all his friends and his girl.
Yeah.
Like that shit.
Holy
All
shit.
because, I'm sorry, he slipped through my fingers. I'm like, and then he lets him in, and I'm like, dude, this guy that killed him, he's the reason he got away in the first place.
Yeah, and you know what else? I don't know what he expected from T'Challa. T'Challa even spared the life of the man that killed his own father. So, there's a lot more when it comes down to how he has to carry himself when he's out there, man. I guess his friend wanted extreme justice for his family, but,
So
T'Challa lost people too, so Fuck.
So with that being said, I guess I want to give it a. Can I give it 4.5?
Yeah, sure. You can 4.5.
Yeah, what you want.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 Wakanda Forevers.
There you go. I would also give it 4.5 Dora Milajes out of 5. R.I.P. the one poor warrior that got her throat cut by Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, man. Oof. But yeah, man, this movie touched me a lot, and it's probably in my top 5 MCU films. I need to see it again before I can actually place it somewhere. Overall, man, it brought up a lot of great points. It's definitely a topical film. So if you don't like politics, man, you ain't gonna like this movie at all. But then again, you're gonna see a movie about black people.
I'm waiting to hear your father's opinion on it.
Oh my god, yeah, my father's probably gonna have the opposite opinion. I'm gonna be so disappointed.
When he says that shit, then you know it's great.
Yo, yo, exposed. Oh my god. But yeah, also shout outs to the closing scene of the film, the stinger, where you get to see Bucky Barnes come back as the White Wolf, which is a character from the comics. It's pretty cool that they incorporated his character into that character. So
he wasn't. Well, Bucky is not the White Wolf.
He's not in the comic books, but they just took the moniker and put it on him as opposed to the character that's in the books. So it's pretty cool that he's a lot of things, man. Whether it be the Winter Soldier, Bucky, James Buchanan, the fucking White Wolf, man. He carries a lot of titles.
You know what? It makes sense they're gonna call him White Wolf, but it was also a good thing they didn't call that other guy the Man-Imp.
Yeah, oh yeah, they avoided that. By the way, Winston Duke did a damn good job. If you guys have never seen him in anything before, Winston Duke plays M'Baku, who's the man-ape in this. He's also one of the main villains towards the end of Person of Interest. If you've never seen Person of Interest, when you're going through that show, he was incredible in that fucking show, and he was really dope in this film, so it was good to see him in this.
That bullshit, you're vegetarian.
Yeah. And one of the best jokes of the film, too. That's what's up.
How the fuck you're vegetarian and you're walking around with furs?
That's what I'm saying.
Fuck out
here. You eating apes? Fucked up.
Been waiting for the apes to die.
That's pretty much all I gotta say for now.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll definitely talk about Black Panther in the future. And Neo, I'm gonna turn it back over to you. Take us home, sir.
Anything else, guys?
No, man. I'm
All
sorry.
right, well, thank you, everybody, for the expanded version of Ready Player One and the abbreviated version of Black Panther. So, and yes, I think Black Panther is something that's going to be discussed ad nauseum for in the foreseeable future. So, thank you, Sho, for joining us, and hopefully you'll be able to join us again in the near future.
I was going to say after this show, I'm pretty sure this will be the last time.
No, not at all, man. I don't know that, but
it was Soul Bro trying to put too much into one. I think.
There you go.
I don't want that fucker back on there.
No, you'll be back.
But
I'm gonna drag you back. But where can we find you, Sho?
Well, you guys can find me easily because I keep my name on all fucking platforms, unlike other people that fucking show up in these chats. God, you guys really need to pick a name to stick with it.
Jesus.
But
that is kind of true.
I am Shoji Robert on everything. I have Shoji Robert on Twitch. I have Shoji Robert on fucking Twitter. Name it, platform, whatever. That is my name. So that's where you can find me. I have no idea when I'll be streaming again, but don't forget, Mr. Lee Major is probably going to be doing something on Saturdays.
Yes, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, that sounds good. Well, everybody support everybody that they can, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode of Gundamn. So, see ya.
So it's been a lot of fun, but, well, I guess that's all.
as the greatest culture? Bullshit. Stop thinking you know anything about culture. You don't even know the meaning.
Who are you? Hey!
Stay away. Don't come any closer.